Hi chat. How's it going, everybody? I'm sorry I messed up the stream it was on. That's my bad. But everybody, we got our Ava elf here, and we were doing Lawtism today. I'm sorry if some of you don't like Lawtism, but I find Lawtism very fun and entertaining. And
most of the time.
Yeah. And me and Ava haven't chosen like boring videos, so it might be a little confusing at some parts. But we didn't choose like the just straight up, here's lawyer talking to judge and they're doing boring lawyer stuff.
Yeah, no, this is this that first one? Is this the lawyer Karen?
This is the Karen.
Yes, oh my god. I haven't seen all this one. I saw like the setup, like the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say though, this is pretty good. This is probably one of the more insane freaking hearings of any type that I've seen Judge Cedric Simpson preside over.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, this is Judge Simpson. I believe he is a Texas judge.
A lot of them are Texas, it seems. Or a lot of the popular ones on YouTube.
Judge Fisher right now is also Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's funny. The districts that these judges are in are kind of like, they would be considered politically a little more left-leaning, as well as these judges would be, but they are in Texas though. So like left-leaning in Texas is still pretty right. So you end up getting a lot of the good, spicy freaking comebacks that the right are capable of without any of the like overzealous death to all.
Yeah.
That like either left or the right. Like it's nice center in the middle politically, which is nice. Especially when you're dealing with court review.
The one that always gets me is with Judge Flesher, because he always wears a bow tie every proceeding.
Yeah, I love that bow tie. It's fucking great.
You know it's him when you see the bow tie, even if you don't recognize his face.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it's... oh, there he is. There's my guy.
Thank you, Akko, for 2. I am not late and gay. I clicked the wrong stream. I am just on time.
Look, a femboy is never late. He arrives precisely when he intends to.
Exactly. And Crundly Brundly, thank you for the 10. Vaccines cause Lawtism. I cannot sign off on that one, good sir.
Okay, look. Now I understand why RFK fired the CDC advisory panel. Because the more vaccines we give, the more lawyers we have. And RFK is an environmental lawyer. He doesn't want competition. That's the real. That's what's happening.
Chat, I don't want to spoil any part of this video too much. I will say that no, we're not dealing with a sovereign citizen. To be honest, I actually typically find sovereign citizens kind of boring. I think that might be a hot take with some people. But they just kind of repeat themselves.
They lose their luster and their shine and their intrigue after
a couple watches, I think. Sovereign citizens are funny to watch them get arrested, chat. Because somebody's always breaking a window or getting tased. Oh, did Ava's volume die? Ava. Your mouth moves, but I can't hear you. Here, let me double check Discord and make sure Discord didn't fuck up something. No. Discord volume is correct. Sound settings. Headphones are right. What if I move Ava out and move Ava back in? How about now?
Hello?
Now it's fixed. I don't know what happened. It just like you stopped talking.
I did nothing but stand here.
Mercenary.
Guys, big loss trying to silence me again.
Mercenary for 5, morning elf lawyer. Want to send you guilty as sock. It's a party game where you were a sock in a courtroom and you were defending or prosecuting people. My friend sent me that.
So I actually already bought it, and several of my friends and viewers have bought it as well. And I do plan on doing community nights, playing that game on stream.
Well, chat, stand by for Ava Community Night, guilty as sock. Also, let me know. I might drop by because my friend bought it for me.
I think absolutely. I like it's gonna be Lucky Ian collab mates and viewers. It's gonna be a members only stream. So it'll be fun.
But chat, this is not a sovereign citizen. This is a Karen. And this is a fun Karen because this Karen is an attorney. And I don't want to spoil why it's fun. But I will tell you guys that it took me like 10 to 15 minutes into this video to even figure out what her role was exactly. It is that like off the wall. Even the judge isn't sure what her role is for most of the video. Like, it's that bad.
I don't think she knows what her role is for most of the video.
Oh, 100%. But chat, here we go. I hope the volume will be fine. Mercenary for 2, I got Lumi the game. I want to give it to Mama Akko.
It's going to be very difficult for me to move forward unless I'm sure you've got attorneys that are.
They will have an attorney within.
Why are you answering for them?
Yeah, no, I got this one. I got this.
Your Honor, we have talked about this. We have talked about.
What did I just say to you? Let's call the case.
Oh, Jesus.
Alec Jerome.
That's this channel always does like these little previews at the start. So that's kind of
Which,
where we're at with
real.
the judge.
For that coming up, for the judge to be that animated, like he has worn out of patience. Okay, he has no more fish to give. He has no more bread to break. He's done.
Yeah. Like, chat, you have to understand, judges are typically very calm even when they're mad. If they're getting like uppity up
For
on the
anybody
stand.
who saw the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial, that's kind of the perfect example of a judge conducting themselves as a judge should. Even though the attorneys, Amber Heard, and some of the expert witnesses were like mind-numbingly stupid, and you could tell she was agitated, she never got angry, she never got contrite, she never got freaking sharpened her tone, she never did any of that. In fact, some people say that the judge was too soft there, but no, that judge was doing exactly as they should. So again, you have to fuck up really, really, really bad for a judge to go, why are you talking?
Yeah. Like, you're gonna see how he gets here, chat, and at some point you're gonna be there with him, and you're gonna be like, I don't understand. Why are you doing this? Oh, it's so great.
Versus
But
Eric,
Judge, we talked about this.
Yeah.
Alec Jerome et al. Versus Eric Cassidy. Are they both? Okay, I do have Mr. Okay, because Mr. Cassidy's usually here. But he's not here. He's there in there. He's just trying to mess me up. All right, and I do have both the Jeromes. Got it.
All right, so here's the explanation from the Gavel Gazers channel. This is an ongoing landlord-tenant case with some significant complications. There's an alleged assault, an eviction, and an odd attorney situation. Odd attorney situation is putting it very mildly.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I will say real quick down too, just for everybody, like it took me, what was it, 10, 15 minutes before I even, Dr. Lofo, has been to court. Like, it took me a hot minute to find out who was the plaintiff and who was the respondent. So, for you guys, the landlord in the lower left-hand side, that's the landlord, and then the couple, Alec, Jermaine, and then I don't know her name, but it's going to be revealed here in a second. Those are the respondents. Those are the tenants of the property.
Yeah. And then I don't know, actually. I thought Cassidy was the plaintiff. Because I think it shows it later.
Yes, Cassidy's the plaintiff. He's suing.
Yeah.
Alec and the girl are the couple, the tenants, and the respondents.
Yeah. And then this top left here, the couple's quote-unquote lawyer is currently in court physically, so they will show up on the top left court cam. They're not appearing via Zoom.
Your Honor, how are you? Gail,
I'm about to find out.
Gail Rosen appearing at Francine Ovar appearing on behalf of the defendants.
Okay.
I'm Donna Toe. I was the attorney for the Jeromes. I am now.
Yeah, so this lady on the right here What you heard her? She was the attorney for the Jeromes. Was. And then
wait,
the lady.
That's just plaintiff, though, right? Is there a countersuit going on here? See, I'm so confused. See, I've confused myself again.
And
I'm
then
pretty sure this started with Eric Cassidy suing these guys over some stuff, and then what happened is a countersuit was filed, and when the countersuit was filed, this Karen Laura over here, what fucking nuts is now a plaintiff or something? Like, it's fucking weird.
I should slide Ava over to the left so she doesn't cover up the Karen lady. So the lady is actually not a Karen, although I get what you mean. She does kind of have the look. But here, I can scoot Ava over so she's more visible. Actually, I was going to try...
actually, yeah, that's right. Okay, so I didn't notice this, but counsel, judge, plaintiff, defendant. I was wrong. See, there we go. I was wrong. I admit it.
So I'm going to do this
so
instead,
the couple
chat.
is suing the defendant, the landlord. This has to be the actual countersuit.
Yes. Although that might also be a little confusing later in the thing when they start explaining what's happening. But yeah, chat, just so for like clarification, and I need to change this so you can see my cursor a bit. There we go. Still not showing my... There it is. There's my cursor. So this guy right here is our landlord. This lady and this guy are the tenants. This lady in the brown shirt with the blonde hair is ex-lawyer. Ex-lawyer, which opens up questions as to why she is currently in court on this. Because she has already been fired at this point. And then lady in the white here...
But she has signed herself up as a plaintiff.
Yes.
Which I don't understand that.
Lady in the white here, to my knowledge, is landlord down here's lawyer. So none of these three are actually like representing themselves. They do have lawyers. Well, I mean, these two don't have a lawyer anymore, but they did have a lawyer. And this is what I had to figure out from watching like 30 minutes of this, because it takes a hot minute to figure out what the fuck is going on.
A plaintiff. The Jeromes are here by Zoom, and we are in pro per.
Well, you're a plaintiff yourself?
Yes.
Very.
The judge is just immediately like...
He literally looked down and went, wait a minute. You're a plaintiff? You said, oh, okay. But you did just grab his attention. He was just kind of chilling, and then you said those words, and you went, oh, interesting.
Is she suing her old clients? She is not. So that's what's going to make this even more confusing. Because
she's not. She's suing the person who countersued her plaintiffs or clients. And she's like taking it personally enough that she's like, I'm recusing myself, and I'm actually joining I'm now a fellow plaintiff. That's what's so confusing here, because this is not normal.
Not only is it
normally how a lawyer would go about, like, there are ways to, during court proceedings, in my attempt to represent my clients, counter counsel, and the respondent actually did something to me that was actionable. I am now a plaintiff as well, and we are hiring a separate attorney. That's not what's happening here, though. Like the methodology in which she uses to become a plaintiff, quote unquote, is completely improper.
Yeah. I would also like to add that the tenant's lawyer, when she's like, I'm a plaintiff, is kind of like, what are you talking about? Because she keeps trying to like join with the landlord and be like, we are co-plaintiffs now. And the landlord's lawyer is like, I have literally no idea what the fuck you're doing here. Like, what?
Yeah, this is actually a good cautionary tale for a lot of lawyers. There's a common bit of advice for lawyers. Don't get too close to your client. This is why we suggest that you never go pro se, you never defend yourself. Even if you are a lawyer, you get your own lawyer because it's too close to the situation. But there are lawyers who get too close to their clients. And now any slight is perceived personally, and they have completely compromised their integrity as a lawyer because they got too close to the client. So that's what this is kind of a cautionary tale about.
So I will add on to that because I kind of read through the comments to see if maybe somebody had like an update, because sometimes on these videos people will post an update because the channel doesn't always get one. The extra
Yeah.
context I might have found, assuming the comments aren't lying, blonde lady ex-lawyer was a cousin to the plaintiffs who offered to do this for them originally.
Okay.
So that's
Jesus
how that
Christ,
came
that
about.
just made it way more appropriate as terms of don't get too close to your client. Like, yeah, like it's a common fucking suggestion to lawyers. Don't represent your family. You're way too close to your family. You cannot do a good job a lawyer can do being unbiased and just like following the lay of the land of the law. It's like you're representing your cousin. I'm sorry. This is why this happened. His lawyer is now a plaintiff because their clients were a fucking cousin.
Exactly. Crumley Bunley for 5. Instructions unclear. Have basement of chained up lawyers. Don't do that.
Oh my.
And I would like to say thanks, chat. We've got almost 80 people in here already. I did not expect a good turnout for the Lawtism stream because I feel like this is sort of my hyper niche interest. So normally the only person I talk about it with is Ava, because Ava lawyer. So
They counterclaimed and
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
it's complicated.
Well, not really. So
If I could, Your Honor, just what we're,
I just want to know who has been representing the Jeromes.
They are representing themselves.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yes, Your Honor.
You're going to represent yourselves?
That was the idea.
I'm not sure whose idea.
With that was the idea with Donna as our agent because she managed everything for us. So yes, that's where we are.
So one quick pause. So it's clear to me that the Jeromes do not quite know what their former attorney and now co-plaintiff is actually trying to do.
yeah,
Well, they're not my lawyer, but they are my agent. Well, we're in court. That's effectively the same thing. For all intents and
Yes.
purposes.
And also you can tell that, because this is a problem with this issue as well, is that Jeromes don't know anything about court. It becomes very clear, like as they talk, that they don't really know what they're doing. So the fact that they had this counsel attorney that apparently just doesn't know what she's doing either really put them in a bad spot.
I do like how Ashley walked away. By the way, she's like, it's complicated. And I heard, so I don't know if it was the judge,
it was
but I
the
heard
judge.
something else. It's not though. Okay, yeah. But yeah, that was fucking, that was a great little, call your BS. It's that complicated. You're making it complicated.
Mercenary for 2, my cousin Vinny in real life. Fair.
Yeah,
Never
but
represent
like,
yourself
my cousin
100%.
Vinny still was able to bumble through. No, not even bumble through. He was like the OG Better Call Saul. Let's be real.
Yeah, which is fair. But take note, chat. The channel that does this put a little tag on it, says their agent but not their attorney, ? You're gonna hear agent a lot. That's gonna become the go-to, like, I was the agent. And she will refuse multiple times to say attorney for some bizarre reason.
Agent, double O Karen.
Yeah.
Okay, but okay, I just want to make sure you're going to represent yourselves in the legal proceeding.
We're representing ourselves today. I don't know. I mean, what I'm hearing from you is that perhaps that's ill-advisable. But yes, today we are here just representing ourselves.
Okay, no, I didn't mean to say either way, except that I just want to make sure I'm clear that from a legal standpoint, you guys are representing yourselves.
That's correct.
But you're doing it for today for sure, but it may change.
Yeah,
It's
yes,
up.
sir. Yeah.
Got
Yes.
it. I got it. Okay, now,
So we're here on two motions, I believe, but before I get to those motions, if I can provide a brief update to the court.
sure.
So I just wanted to let you know that, or the court know that in July, the tenants advised, as did I, advised the landlords that they would be vacating the property prior to September 1st, 2024. Provided notification 2 months ago to give the plaintiffs an opportunity and significant time to find new tenants before the start of the academic year. So the tenants have found alternate housing and they will vacate on August 31st and return possession of the property to the landlord. I'll need to know where to leave the keys. And they'll continue to comply with the court's order to pay rent into escrow until the case is decided.
Okay.
So just as a, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say.
Chat, at the start here, there's not going to be too much because it's obviously just the lawyers kind of going over this is the case, this is what we're asking for, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, this is the facts that have been presented so far. And the circumstances that bring us here today.
Yeah, at the end of it, at the end of her little thing here, it's when it immediately starts going off the rails because then the other side has to explain why they're here. And the other side doesn't really know why they're here. Which is a problem because the other side is the one that is suing or countersuing in this case. So
Yeah, if you're the plaintiff, you should have a solid grasp of why you're there because you're the one bringing your argument to the court.
yeah.
The defendant or respondent, which is weird. Gavel gazers, this is, I'm pretty sure, a civil tort. That's not a defendant, that's a respondent.
Yeah. Well, I think it's defendant because there's accusations of assault at this point. Although
That's true, but assault can still be
Well, civil, yeah.
civilly. There's no prosecutor or anything, so there's no victim, there's no defendant, there's no even for the allegations of assault because it's being handled in civil court, that should be a respondent. Now it might be different because it's the state they're in, but at least for California and several other states, if it's a civil tort, it's plaintiff and respondent. Yeah. If it's criminal, it's prosecution and defending.
I think I can excuse plaintiff and defendant.
I can too.
Because I think that's what most people know as terms. So I think the average person watches this and sees plaintiff, defendant, and immediately knows who's on what side. Also, Crundly Bundly for 5. Why does Carolyn look like a film director from the 50s? She does kind of have that look to her, doesn't she?
Thank you for that. I half expect her to go, emote.
By way of the reasoning is that they contend that they've been constructively evicted, not only as a result of significant delay or failure to address a plethora of necessary repairs, but also due to substantial privacy violations and a violation and interference with their right to quiet enjoyment. Ms. Tope has routinely noted that she frequently conducts what she calls security checks at the property, as well as what she refers to as due diligence surveillance, watching the property from the road. So I'm not aware of anything that allows that to occur. Additionally, she's falsely filed.
Yeah, so these are strict, this is in Texas, I believe, and Texas has some extremely favorable laws for the tenant. Not the tenant, excuse me, for the landlord. The landlord can pretty much get you out of there for almost no reason. Like as long as they give enough notice, there's very little that you can do. Yeah. Unless there are allegations or confirmed proof of things like violation of privacy and stuff like that. And if you are renting out your unit to somebody, you don't have a right to do random security checks. That's insane. Yeah, from some of the details I've seen with this case, assuming it's true, assuming the allegations are true, the landlord is an absolute creep show and needs to take a huge step back.
The problem is we're not gonna talk about how much the landlord is a creep show, because unfortunately plaintiffs hired their cousin, and their cousin is a moron.
Yeah. And this is what damages a case like this, even though the facts that are being presented, or at least alleged in court, are like, wow, yeah, this landlord's an asshole. You have fucked it up so bad that we don't care about that. Isn't it true, like, the defendant, Eric Cassidy here, doesn't talk till, like, the last 2 minutes of the film?
Yeah. And then he has to, like, clear
Yeah,
his throat
so
because
it's
he's
true.
been sitting here for an hour in dead silence. The defendant was not needed in this, and the only time he speaks up is when the judge is like, will that date work for you? And he just says yes. It's terrible.
Report accusing the tenants of assault, filed a PPO making the same false allegations, and now filed a case in circuit court, similarly falsely accusing the tenants of assault and battery. So that's
Excuse me. There's a new filing, or is
in
that,
circuit court, yes.
okay, so when did that
Oh,
happen?
wait a minute, yeah.
I'm not sure when that was filed.
It's a civil case.
Okay, I understand
And
that.
it has nothing to do with the landlord-tenant issues that are before this court.
You can see the judge is trying to figure out what she means by that.
The Karen lawyer literally just you just watched a stun lock in real life. Did you see how many times he blinked and then leaned back? He's like, hey, excuse me. Like, let's run that back one more time.
Yeah.
That was the most, like, plain example of a stun lock I've ever seen.
We are dealing with a case with a landlord and tenant that are against each other, and then the lady says also there are
Where they're accusing
allegations
each other
of assault.
Yeah, exactly.
And then she's like, oh no, the landlord and tenant assaulting each other has nothing to do with the landlord-tenant dispute. Like, that seems like a pretty big
It
factor to me.
does. Why is she telling what the judge is relevant? It's her job. No, actually, no, it's not her job because she's not an attorney anymore. God damn it. Do you see life? It's so infuriating.
Oh no, it's gonna get so much more infuriating with this lady. It gets so bad. Also, Mercenary for 2, I gave note to police and filed a report.
Oh, speaking of, actually.
Yeah.
Let me apply your chat's,
Oh, the head pat thing?
yes, there we go. Link applied. It'll
Yeah,
work.
chat, now you can head pat the Ava. They just need to type in
Don't
like
abuse
head
it,
pat
though.
in the super chat, right?
Yeah, head pat, head space pat, or head patted, or head pets.
Yeah.
I think
I'll
is
do,
the words that I use. Don't abuse it. I will turn it off. Look. No, circle logic. You're absolutely right.
It's just so funny. And the
Oh,
case
right.
gets so much funnier as we go along.
Let's see that stun look one more time.
Oh yeah, I could scroll back for
There you
it.
go.
To do with the landlord-tenant issues that are before this court.
Dude, he wasn't even blinking symmetrically. Did you see that? That was
Yeah.
asymmetrical blinking. Do you know how hard your brain has to be working for you to desync your eye blinking? I'm not joking. Like, that's like body language, behavioral sciences, stuff like that. That's like a 9 out of 10 in terms of brain processing power. How hard he tried to wrap his head around what she just said.
Oh.
We'll come back to that.
So,
Yeah, this is all just
so the
civil.
good news is that
There's going to be some. Go ahead.
since the tenants are vacating the property in about a week or 8 days, plaintiff's motion to enter the property unimpeded by the tenants and their dogs is moot. So they can enter the property after August 31st without any fear of interference from the tenants.
Okay.
So we just have our motion then to strike the plaintiff's report to the court on mediation. I believe.
Before we get into that,
Sure.
this is where this gets a little bit weird. Did either of the other parties have anything to say about the vacating the premises and the like?
I will say, because somebody probably caught on to that, but the counsel just then called the defendant the plaintiff. And because there's a countersuit, I don't know if she's just kind of wording it weird, but she will kind of alternate between calling him plaintiff and defendant depending on which case she's talking about, which kind of just confuses the court a little bit more because it's already a very confusing
Yeah, that is what's
situation.
happening here. Yeah, basically what's happening is they're attempting to litigate two cases.
Yeah.
The case in which Alec Jerome and Carola Jerome are suing, they're actually countersuing, the initial landlord's suit, which would make him the defendant, the plaintiff in the initial suit. But because we're doing the countersuit right now, the Jeromes and the weird ass Karen lawyer are actually the plaintiffs listed. But again, as the lawyer goes through the previous case to this case, you might hear her switch the titles. It's a little confusing, but our main focus is on the crazy lawyer, now plaintiff, so it's not really relevant.
Yeah. And sometimes you can tell who she's talking about anyways, because she won't often say defendant or respondent. She'll say tenant or landlord. So you typically figure out which case she's talking about then.
I guess the only people that wouldn't, well, I'll hear from anybody. Ms. Tope.
I'm the agent who has managed the entire lease from
the
beginning to the end and had all interaction on the lease and its terms and meeting the responsibilities of the landlord as their agent. I did that. And as far as
for those of you who can't see the whole thing, it says, to be clear, this is highly unusual. Typically, the landlord, agent, manager, and attorneys are separate people.
Yeah.
So she's trying to fill multiple roles, but she's kind of been fired from a couple of them. So,
request or the assertion that the plaintiffs were leaving the property September 1st. They have not requested nor gotten written permission to terminate the lease. And they have not. So
if you guys don't know what she's doing right now, for some reason, she is arguing against the tenants. And this is what confused me the most for the longest time watching this video to figure out what her role was exactly. Because you just heard the landlord's counsel say, it's not a problem, they're moving out, everybody's agreed they're moving out, so they'll be out on this date. But then their landlord, or then their, quote, agent, gets up and says, actually, it says they have to give notice before they leave, so they're not allowed to leave. It's like, aren't you on their side?
Yeah, it was, because there was a mediation that happened beforehand, and the other lawyer, the lawyer representing the landlord, just mentioned that they attempted to motion to strike the mediation, which means that initial agreement that probably happened out of that mediation has probably fallen through. And so Judge Simpson asks, okay, before we get to that, does anybody have any comment on what we were previously talking about? The agent / Karen lawyer here decided to immediately step in and talk about the reason why the other lawyer wants the mediation stricken from the record.
So
which is not what Judge Simpson asked for.
I will spoil this a little bit. Every side wants the mediation stricken, except for their ex-lawyer. And the judge is actually going to reprimand her for her reasoning for not wanting it stricken. Because her reasoning
so it's
is
going to be an
bad shit.
admonishment.
Her reasoning
Is it
is
real? Okay,
bad
okay.
shit.
Well, that's why I was like a little confused because I'm like, okay, so like, are you if you are asserting that no agreement was reached or no notice was given, why are you arguing against the motion to strike the mediation?
This is like what's weird to me, right? Is all of her arguments seem tailor-made to injure the plaintiffs whose side she was originally on, which ends up making, at least in my eyes, it makes her look like she's here maliciously to try and sabotage them. Because everything she argues
So
for is
spherical
just
logic.
inherently
They're talking
detrimental.
about the mediation in the yes, it is, but they're talking about the mediation in terms of like, there's a lot of forced mediations that will happen before you're even allowed to bring a case in front of a judge. Often in Texas is one of these places they will force you into mediation. So this was not a contract that was signed and written or a handshake. This was a court-ordered and court-overseen mediation attempt to get them to solve their differences without putting it in front of the court. So this is definitely like this mediation has been properly recorded, accounted for, and everything because it was ordered by the court.
Don't worry, chat. Ava's gonna be losing their mind by the end of this one because it gets so bad.
This is where this gets weird. Okay?
Okay,
Because as you stand here before me today,
yeah.
how are you asserting that on behalf of the Jeromes?
As the agent who has been completely involved in the entire performance of the lease from the standpoint of the tenants.
Okay.
So, chat, I understand that sometimes to people, lawyer speak sounds like gibberish. This is not lawyer speak. This is just actual gibberish.
That was actual gibberish. Basically, what she's trying to argue is because I was the agent handling quote unquote this case during the time that you're referencing, I somehow have a right, without being tied as their attorney, to actually assert this on their behalf. Again, the Jeromes have to assert this on their own behalf now. They are representing themselves, which means agent or not, you are not allowed to speak for them in this matter in front of this court because you have given that up. You are no longer an attorney. You are another plaintiff. Even if you existed as an agent for them, it's irrelevant to the matters in front of the judge right now.
Yeah. So, like, don't feel bad, chat, if you can't, like, pick up on it. She's not actually speaking legalese.
No, she's just crazy.
She's just actually speaking gibberish. The judge gets confused at multiple points, and he's like, what are you saying? I don't know what it means.
That's why, as I said before at the last hearing, that we actually were all here.
Yes.
This gets messy. Because that notion, certainly you can say up to a certain point that's occurred. However, it's really up
Not
to
anymore.
Jerome's to say that.
Okay.
Well,
Yes.
No, I mean, it is murky because, of course, as our agent, all these, from our perspective, all of these things are allegations. We're not there on the ground to see.
Yeah, okay. And that's, let me just stop you there because I think
Oh, they're trying to say something.
it seems to me that the
Well, I think the judge is trying to advise the plaintiffs, because from what I've seen from this judge, he's very nice to pro ses, where sometimes he'll directly tell them, look, you probably want to shut up because you're going to hurt yourself really bad.
Yeah.
So I think he's starting to realize that they don't really have representation and they don't really understand what, like, they're supposed to do.
That they don't have, yeah, exactly.
So he's trying to keep them from doing
I mean,
foot
even
and
how
mouth.
Caroline is like saying things and then like responding, you can tell by how her face looks, how she's looking into her memory and like her very past. Go, I don't need like this is a problem. You need representation. If a simple question by the judge elicits that response.
Yeah. Like he's starting to
If
become
you don't really know,
concerned
it's
that they
fine,
don't
but
know
this
what they're
is why.
talking about.
Exactly.
They're like simple questions about like, okay, like, you know, do you want a lawyer? They weren't able to answer that earlier. They genuinely have no idea what they're doing, and he's kind of like, I don't want to fuck these people over because of like some weird lawyer shit.
Issues for trial as opposed to being.
What issues for trial? Well, here's what the
their
issue for trial would be.
complaints. These are
Whether or not they were
I'm
constructively
sorry.
evicted.
Did you see her stun lock?
The judge, yeah. The judge just stun locked the shit out of her. She like even the camera switched positions and it was just silence. Now it's fucking great.
I like how her whole body froze, like no movement at all. Just
Dude, she became a fucking gargoyle again. Like the sun came up and she turned into stone.
oh, it's great.
They're leaving. If you listen to what Ms. Wilson said, they're not seeking your acquiescence to leave. Their belief is that they've been constructively evicted from the premises.
Your Honor, if I may, my intention was to notify the court and provide an update on what's happening today. They're leaving. The motion is therefore moot. And whether or not they've been constructively evicted will be determined by this court. We're not
Absolutely.
asking the
right.
plaintiff's permission.
To clarify for the chat, constructively evicted is basically where you're not legally evicted. They just make your life so unbearable that you are forced to leave in order to just get like some peace. And that is
Very good
actually
job,
not
by the
in
way.
front of the court today. That is coming later.
No, it's not.
So that's why he's confused about why they're here, because that's a completely separate
But
issue
still, to
that's
use
not.
the term you define the term constructively evicted very, very well.
Yeah. Thank you. Because I know it's going to come up a lot, and I don't want chat to be confused by it. But it's going to come up a lot, chat, but that's not actually in front of the court today. So he's not addressing anything related to that. That'll be much later. Not in this video, but like in a completely
lawyer is
separate
basically
case.
arguing like, guys, look, the decision for them to move out has already been made. The motion to create a court order to back what is already happening is moot. It's unneeded, so we're asking that not happen.
Who
And
is the
for
brunette?
whatever
Is she the
reason-
agent's attorney? She is the defendant's attorney, and it took me a while to figure
Yeah,
that
she's the
out.
landlord's attorney.
It honestly took me a while to figure that out because the tenant and the landlord are actually so on the same side in this specific issue that every argument she makes sounds like she's arguing for the plaintiff. Because they are just that like in lockstep in agreement. It's only the Karen attorney who for some reason is not on board with everybody else.
They're leaving.
That's why I consider that to be an issue that needs to be decided down the road, as opposed to how did the Jeromes feel about it? I think that they will assert themselves
Okay.
at that time.
Counsel, this is where our problem is. You can't
Be involved anymore.
you're holding way too many different roles. I don't know when you're talking to me, whether you're talking to me as an attorney in the case or as a party in the case. But it worries me because of this court's order,
Yes.
when you're talking about something, making a representation as to almost representing the Jeromes, because that's going to be a problem.
Okay, they have counterclaimed against the Jeromes and me, and these are issues in their counter complaint.
She is That's part of what Ava meant earlier with she is too close to this case. She's too personal with this case. She is genuinely considering the landlord's counterclaim as an attack against her specifically. So now she is just
Yeah,
insistent
exactly. She's too
that she
close.
has to be involved.
Because here's the thing, what likely happened is a counterclaim was made, and this Karen lawyer received it as a personal counterclaim against her, not against her clients. She immediately, well, this isn't about who I'm representing. This is about me. No, it's not, you narcissist. Get out of the room. But,
By the way, chat, it is this bad. We are 10 minutes in to a hour video. She's not named in the counterclaim.
well, here's the thing, she would be if she was their attorney.
She is named
So-
insofar as she was their attorney at the time it was filed.
But again, I can see this lawyer looking at that, seeing her name as a part of the counterclaim and going, oh, they're also suing me.
Oh, don't
I
worry,
think
she'll tell us that
that's
later.
what's happened here, and she's doubling and tripling down.
She will explicitly
They're
tell us
officially
that
at the
later.
point
It's
I
amazing.
do not know. Does she really?
Yeah?
Oh my god, I was just like, guys, we're officially past 10 minutes. I have not seen anything past this. I just saw the setup, so this is all new to me.
Yeah, I'm excited for Ava to see the rest of it because it is such a shit show.
That all of
Okay.
the things that I.
I didn't want to say this, but here's what I'm just going to say. Here's what the problem is, counsel, and why I did what I did. The problem is that, as Mr. Rome was saying, they weren't there. So let's assume, for the sake of argument, I'm not saying that it's the case, that you did something that was where all of a sudden they're liable for it and they didn't give you authorization to do it. And if that happens, you guys are on way opposite ends of that legal perspective and argument.
Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
part of their counter complaint, which is
I'm not even getting to the counter complaint. I'm just you're standing here making representations on behalf of the Jeromes under the
agent
guise
slash
of,
attorney is never advisable.
Yeah.
Like, with me not, like, with my license being on inactive status, I could technically pull a Ben Shapiro, opening up a consultation, a law consult company, and then be many people's agents where I give them advice. But that's about as far as an agent can go regarding like legal representation. As soon as you get in front of a court, you're no longer an agent. If you are, you're a lawyer. But this is why you don't be the lawyer slash agent. If you're an agent and you all of a sudden you have to be in front of court, get a lawyer for your clients and for yourself. That's what didn't happen here, and that's the logjam and the murkiness that the court is experiencing right now.
Yeah. And kind of what the judge is trying to explain to her is she is no longer their attorney, but she's trying to make representations as their attorney. And if she does that she could put them in a bad spot where they have to answer for what she's saying, even though they really don't agree with her anymore and they haven't given her permission to say it. Because she's currently in the court on the record trying to speak for them, even though she's already been fired.
Yeah.
being their agent.
Right, because I was. about to-
However,
If I could just add to Your
Let her
Honor,
finish.
the mediation, the report to the court, the mediation summary was also drafted and filed by Ms. Toth. The response to the motion was
Oh,
drafted
no.
and filed by Ms. Toth.
When I hear Judge Simpson go, I know, as he's just face palming, oh, you are not in a good position. You are not in a favorable light with the court right now.
Yeah. So kind of what they're going over right now, chat, is, and what's giving the judge such a headache, is he's realizing this lady in the court has zero valid reason to be there. However, every single piece of paper on their docket today was filed by her. everybody is in that court today specifically because of her, but she's not supposed to be involved anymore.
Responding to her assertions made on behalf of the Jeromes. Yeah, this is a very big problem.
And he's, as time goes on, he's slowly going to get more annoyed and more angry with her.
So,
What was the song?
I hope it's
Oh, I love it.
inspirational.
Simpson, hey, you want to know what the song was?
so it's even murkier.
I wanted to put on a flannel shirt and go outside. Put on a hat. No, anyway, I'm sorry.
I like a judge with a sense of humor.
It's even murkier, Your Honor, in terms
I
of
do too.
where the representation begins and ends, and that's
I know.
why we filed the motion to disqualify Ms. Tope as their attorneys, and you granted the motion to disqualify Ms. Tope.
So,
Your Honor, may I say
Okay,
on
so
behalf-
okay, wait a minute.
Yeah, she's already been disqualified by the judge.
So this isn't even. Well, I mean, this is fired, but this is fired by the court.
Yeah.
This is like the Jeromes didn't fire him. The fucking court disqualified her from representing these clients. So this is way worse than this is the court fired you from representing these people, and you're still trying to represent them.
Yeah, there's like so many levels to this.
This just got way worse.
And it only gets worse.
Of Mr. Eric Cassidy that we believe that Ms. Tope has completely violated your order. She continues to represent the Jeromes. By saying she's an agent does not mean that she's not doing legal work on behalf of the Jeromes. They admitted it themselves today. This needs to stop. She should be sanctioned, and we need to move forward with the trial in this matter.
the motion that is before you
Yeah.
was a motion that I filed when I was the attorney. I no longer the attorney, but in your order, you said that we could pursue that motion, and you set it for a hearing today because you did not want to jeopardize the Jerome's rights. That is the motion that I put into
Okay.
notice.
So she is trying to argue that because the reason that they are even here at this court is because of this motion that she filed and she had her name in, that she was the operating attorney of, even though she's not anymore.
That she still has a
wants
right to be
say
here.
that she that's what she's trying to assert, like, oh well, because I was their attorney during this time and that's what we're talking about, I can be their attorney again for just this matter. That's not how the court works. Like, I'm sorry that you were fired, but like, look, if what was her name? Brudichev from Amber Heard. If Amber Heard fired your attorney, and then the judge asked something about what was filed, you know what happens? The new attorney fucking picks up that motion, reads it, and then answers the question. The old attorney doesn't walk into the court and fucking say about what they were thinking. No, that's the job for the new attorney or the plaintiffs themselves, because they suggested that they are self-representing, which I don't think they understand what that means.
Yeah. You're not going to believe it, but that specific issue is going to somehow get worse.
Oh, God.
For this hearing, and these other things sort of fall behind that. So I sort of am, I have been put into that position, this position, by filing that motion. And so I'm responding.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a second to stop, collect your words, and retry that argument. Because you are just saying a bunch of conjunctions together. That's not a sentence.
She has no idea where she's going with this.
Yeah, she doesn't. She really doesn't.
This is kind of how I feel, though, is I think she's trying to, like, play a semantics game with the court, which, first off, it's not going to work.
She is.
But second off, she doesn't even have, like, her semantics right. So she's just trying to make it up on the spot. She didn't plan it out. Like, if you're gonna pull this bullcrap in court, you need to have, like, your whole argument in your head written down. Like, I am the agent of this document. That's the exact wording I'm going to use. Gonna stick with it. And she didn't do that. She thought she could wing it.
As the person who filed that motion, that you allowed us to continue to present before the court on this date.
Your Honor, that motion is moot. And
It's not moot because they haven't left.
will
And
be moot next week. And additionally, after the disqualification order was signed, Ms. Tope filed an amendment to that,
No, I know.
to that motion. And then a response to my,
You can hear the judge. He is so done. So what they're saying, chat, is even after she was disqualified, ignoring that she's in court now, she edited the motion, filed an amendment to it, and that the opposing counsel doesn't believe they should even be court for it at all. Believes it's moot. So like, she's tried to make this argument that, well, I filed it at the start.
Agree, yeah.
She's trying to argue that,
You're
like, well, I
not
filed
allowed
it at the
to
start,
touch
so I have a
those
right to be
complaints.
here, but she doesn't.
You're not allowed to. I will kill you. In Minecraft.
Been hearing this court case from my aunt's room all week. It's hilarious. Oh, what kind of court case you listening to? Spherical logic. I know you ordered me to leave this case. Here's why I'm going to ignore it. Yeah, especially when it's this specific judge disqualified you, not even the court itself, but the specific judge. You don't want to show up to his courtroom and be like, by the way, I'm ignoring your order.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they did fire because they filed a motion to disqualify, which was approved by the judge. So therefore, the judge/court is technically the one who fired them. But like, it was on the behest of the plaintiff's request. So like, you have been fired by your clients, by the court, by the judge, and you're still here, thinking you have a right to be here. That's kind of fucking wild.
It's insane. And then she's trying to argue in front of the judge that she doesn't have to listen to anyone.
to our motion to strike. So it continues, and there's quite a lack of clarity as to what Ms. Tope's role is in this matter.
And Your Honor, I think it's willful at this point. She knows. She's been in this court and in front of you long enough to know that you told her not to do that. There's a clear conflict of interest
Holy
between her and
shit! That was fucking great!
By the way, I like how the mic that's focused on this chair over here keeps going off, because then it keeps trying to show that empty chair.
Oh, that's funny.
It's just picking up their voices, I guess. Akko for 2, gonna head pat the elf.
Yeah, any hot miking.
Yeah.
The camera's made to switch and it just goes, empty chair.
I do like that defendant's counsel is actually like taking up the issue instead of trying to ignore it and move past it and being like, yeah, no, you need to deal with this bitch. Like, this is crazy. Why is she in here?
Well, they've already called for her to be sanctioned. That's when they mentioned, oh, this is where shit gets real. Absolutely.
How often do cases like this happen?
You've already been asked to be sanctioned once, and hell,
I'm gonna say, chat, this
not
specific
often,
case, this is the only time I've seen something this crazy. I've seen crazy people in court.
I've seen cases like this happen, but usually the attorney will usually the judge will no, you shouldn't be here, leave, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's not usually an hour long of arguments and motions, and the other fucking counsel going, no, this bitch needs to be sanctioned. Like, this is not normal.
The chair wishes to speak, Mizu. And they call an expert to verify if she is being possessed. Unironically, they're at the point where they could probably ask for competency on her.
Actually, that's why it keeps going to the empty chair. Sing's trying to testify. Like, look, I know this looks like me, but I promise you, that bitch is crazy all on her own. There's not a single demon in my hell that would do what this person's doing. It's just her. I'm sorry.
Jerome's that will be apparent at trial. So she's not only having the conflict of interest, but she's a witness and she's participating as an attorney for herself, an attorney for the Jerome still to this day by her last two pleadings.
The response to the letter was because I, as their agent, set up that dispute resolution settlement meeting. And so I feel I set it up with the University of Michigan because it's a term in the lease. And so I felt like.
But Your Honor, it was filed on their behalf after she was disqualified.
Oh, I know.
And it was also a completely improper filing. There's no, I don't know why a report was just submitted to the court on facts that the court wasn't seeking information about. It doesn't ask the court.
That's in our answer, my answer, because I'm.
Just drops the mask completely. My
Holy shit, what the fuck? Like our answers when like that that's it's fortunate but it's still appropriate, right? Because you're trying to but no, she just my answer. This is me. I am me. Like, calm down. What is happening?
Also, chat, I think part of what's going on is you can tell that the judge is like legitimately stun-locked by this. Because every time they're like, you know, she was disqualified and she filed it anyways, and you can hear him mutter under his breath, I know. Like, he is genuinely stun-locked that this woman is here. I don't think he's had to deal with, like, such an incompetent attorney before. Like, he's probably had to deal with bad ones. But I don't think he's had one in his court before that's, like, so blatantly insane and just doesn't care.
Judge Fisher has.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it with Judge Fisher a lot.
But not, I don't think Judge Simpson.
Because he genuinely seems so confused by this woman's behavior.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, how. Okay, I shouldn't do that. That's really mean. But like, I'm literally like, are you experiencing onset dementia? Because I can only think of a couple explanations for how someone who passed any state bar, any of the bar exams in this freaking great big nation of ours. How are you making these arguments and fucking hanging on simple words and simple responses? I'm like, this does actually, like, what you said earlier. She should be evaluated for competence.
Can I get a teal deer? I'm confused. That woman was let go and she doesn't want to be let go. She was disqualified by the court.
Pretty much, yeah.
Which means she cannot be involved anymore. However, it seems like she is personally offended by this. So she's trying to force arguments as why she should be able to stay.
She has claimed that she is a agent to the plaintiffs. She is a plaintiff herself. She was a lawyer to the plaintiffs. She was a property manager, probably. And you know what? She cooked some pretty good cookies on the weekends, too.
If I was that judge, I would just hold her in contempt of court just by showing up after being disqualified by the court. I mean, Judge Simpson is a really nice one.
It would be within his look. Yes. And judges have to, like, because especially when it comes to people who are attorneys and stuff like that, like, what could happen is like, you know, I need you to explain to me why I should report you to the bar examination. I'll read the bar exam and actually have you guys, like, have you look into and maybe sanction, maybe even disbar you. Like, that is something that he could ask as a question. But again, a judge is going to ask questions and kind of let you bury yourself and dig your own hole. So even though there's a lot of judges who might have like acted sooner on this, admonished her, held her in contempt or anything, Judge Simpson is really doing the best thing here because if he acts inappropriately, that can be then used in appeal. And then that would fuck over the defendant and fuck over the plaintiffs all over this random Karen Moore's fucking attempted interfering with these proceedings. So it's probably the best idea for him to just kind of react to what she's saying, but also kind of let her go. You know, let her fucking go buck blonde with it so he has more ammo to use when he makes the argument that, hey, I think that this person needs to be evaluated or even disbarred.
Yeah. This is also something you might see if you watch like a lot of court cases, chat, but typically judges and lawyers don't really have it out, because a lot of times they have so much interaction with each other that it's highly probable they're going to see each other in the future, and having some bad blood there is just going to make things worse for everybody. So it's typically kind of rare to see a judge and a lawyer that have like an open animosity to each other. I think I've seen it once or twice. And it was really bad.
I'm the one that had it set up, and I'm the one that got affirmation from the director who set up the meeting that it was not mediation, it was not legal mediation, and the assertions that were put into their motion to strike were not accurate.
Your Honor, Ms. Tope wasn't at the mediation. That was the point. It was the plaintiff without Ms. Tope. She prepared their affidavit. She filed their affidavit. It is mediation. The court ordered mediation. This is all a type of mediation that was provided. The parties agreed to it. The parties signed a confidentiality agreement that applies to the entire process of the mediation.
And our answer answers that, because he directly said, and
let's not.
that it was not mediation and did not have any legal import, and that they would not file a report with the court.
They would not file a report with the court because it's confidential. They signed an agreement that said it's confidential. The court rules provide that it's confidential. The rules of evidence provide that it's confidential. And now you're trying to get that information in yet another time when the information is confidential and shouldn't be in your.
So if you're missing what they're talking about,
mediations,
chat.
because here's the thing. Mediations are supposed to be confidential, even to the courts. Even if it's a court-ordered mediation, the whole point of mediation or arbitration is to avoid wasting the court's time. So if the court is privy to what happens in mediation, they might have questions and they might try to involve themselves, which defeats the whole point of mediation anyway. So there is confidentiality and privilege when it comes to court-ordered mediations. So yeah, this lawyer is doing another big fuck up by trying to bring in what was discussed here when she was not actually a part of the mediation. That's why this is happening. She's upset that she was not present for the mediation, and she wants to know what happened there, and she's trying to use the court to bring that mediation up. That's a big thing right there.
I'm sorry, chat made a blurb over you a little bit there. Chat, don't be rude when Ava's talking. But yeah, no, the part that's wild to me is also where they said at the start that she wasn't even involved in the mediation process. Like, so you're telling the judge is like a third party what happened during mediation that you weren't there for and that should be considered confidential.
It's court-ordered confidential. That's what they signed a confidentiality agreement. And what's crazy is she's an outside party to this. She was not the attorney for it. She wasn't even a plaintiff. She was not even she has nothing. She signed the initial motion to get the mediation started, but that's as much as her involvement should have started and stopped. She's upset that she wasn't in that room, and she wants to know what was said and what was discussed, which is why she's trying to bring the terms of the mediation into the courtroom, which is I would have actually threatened her with sanction and martial or elite. We're pretty much at contempt of court now.
Yeah.
If this was just dropped on me, I'm like, wait, so this is why you're doing? Get out of here. Get out of here right the fuck now. 3 days. 3 days in county for you.
You know, it's insane that she's been let to go this long. But the judge just is so nice. And honestly, I think I would rather have a nice judge that kind of lets some bullshit like this go on for a little bit too long than an asshole judge that somebody comes in pro se and he's like, I think every pro se is an idiot and I'm immediately going to deny everything they ask for.
And those judges, when they react that way, are very easily appealed. They are the most commonly appealed judges, which is why normally, especially judges you'll see these guys, they're measured, they're patient, to the point where it's probably a point of criticism for some people, especially laymen. I don't like this judge. He's too benign. He's too inactive. No, this is a judge doing exactly what they should.
Yeah.
As annoying as these interactions are with us, it's kind of just part of due process.
Yeah, chat, at the end of the day, you're gonna, especially if you ever end up in court, you're gonna want the more measured judge over everything else. So just take the measured ones. Trust me, it's better that way.
And we requested that it be withdrawn. Can I remind the court that Ms. Tope tried to get this information in last time at the hearing, and I objected as this was information to settlement discussions, and Your Honor said, yes, I'm not hearing any of this. So she turned around and put it in a writing and submitted it. And MRE 408 does not say mediation, it just says settlement discussions cannot be before the court.
And the settlement discussion, nothing about this, Your Honor, nothing about the settlement discussions was disclosed by the Jeromes. What was in their letter, they described to you that they did discuss the issues of the landlord-tenant case that was presented to the dispute resolution people, assistant. And it was Mr. Cassidy who went off the rails and talked about things that had nothing to do. No, they drafted that letter.
So this is a part that it's my only real complaint with the judge during this is at that point, I think he really needs to step in and be like, okay, both of you need to like shut up for 5 seconds and let the other person talk. Because they're getting at the point where they're just out and out fighting with each other in the middle of the courtroom. Which granted, defendant's attorney has a point. But still, like it needs to be like kind of cut there. Who's the guy next to Ava? That's the landlord. He's technically the defendant right now. But he literally doesn't do anything this entire case. Because he doesn't need to. Like, the people who's in here arguing are, like, insane.
Yeah, that would be an appropriate criticism from me to you as well.
Yeah, like, I'm just kind of like, please, just tell them to shut up.
It's their words in that letter.
So if I can renew my.
Can I just hold on a second?
Certainly.
Ms. Tope,
Yes.
I don't like finding that attorneys are violating not only the written orders of the court, but certainly the spirit of the court's orders, and are trying to go around that. And when this whole thing about the disqualification started, what I honestly thought was that, and I ultimately ordered and was waiting for, was a substitution of attorney, because I didn't want the Jeromes being without counsel.
And I have searched far and wide among all the landlord-tenant attorneys who have appeared before you.
Yeah, she did.
Bitch.
She is
Are you
so
fucking
up her
kidding
own
me?
butt.
So I know that seems like such a non-issue, but like you use the term far and wide. Are you fucking kidding me?
Just look out your
This is
door.
not a storybook.
Toss a rock. Trust me, you're gonna hit one. Like she's pretending like, oh, like I searched everywhere, couldn't find a single landlord-tenant attorney. That's a fucking lie, and you know it. I don't even know how to like search these
Especially
things
in
well, and I can
Texas.
do it.
There are people who open entire private practices focusing on landlord law.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
property law, basically.
she's just talking out her rear because she wants an excuse to stay on this case, and she needs to separate herself. She is trying so hard to get herself in trouble.
And nobody wants to take the skillet of snakes. I have an attorney who is not part of the landlord-tenant attorney.
Wait, did she just call a bunch of tardy snakes?
She said it is I'll go back. I think she said it is a skillet of snakes. which is a very odd turn of phrase.
Wow. Holy shit, you basically just insulted every attorney.
Yep.
That works in that area of law to the court. Holy shit, that's insane. But you're not like, oh my god. You're not allowed to do that.
Yeah.
Wants to take the skillet of snakes. I heard
Go back a little
far
bit.
and wide among all the landlord-tenant attorneys who have appeared before you, and nobody wants to take the skillet of snakes. I have an attorney who is not part of the landlord-tenant attorney group, but she has not been able to file an appearance for me because she was in court today.
You can see he immediately gets confused because she talks as if she's looking for an attorney for herself, not for the plaintiffs. Which she is, it sounds like. Because she is just that, like, inextricably tied to this case. And that immediately sets the judge off. He's like, what do you mean finding an attorney for you? What about for them? And the message.
And here's the problem. This is so mismanaged and so mishandled that, like, the judge would be completely within his rights to dismiss the plaintiff's case.
Yeah.
Just on the actions of this fucking Karen lawyer. Now, he's not going to do that because he realizes that's going to fuck the plaintiffs over something that they did. This is not their fault. They did not do that. They did not contribute to what is a dismissible fucking offense in terms of how this Karen lawyer is handling it. So it's weird because if I were the judge by now, I probably would have admonished Karen lawyer, probably held her in contempt, at least civil contempt.
Yeah.
And then probably told the plaintiffs, look, guys, I'm sorry. This really does suck, but whether she convinced you or you fired her or whatever, we have to basically start out. You guys, like, I'm going to dismiss this with the option for you guys to refile if you want to, but you need to have all your ducks in a row. Because this ultimately is still your responsibility, regardless of whether or not she was your agent or lawyer or whatever. You do have agency over what your lawyer does.
Yeah.
And so in that retrospect, it's kind of like, look, the plaintiffs aren't saying anything down or asserting anything here. They're just kind of letting this ex-lawyer cousin of theirs just fucking argue with the judge. That in and of itself to me is enough to, like, okay, we got to dismiss this. You got to refile. You got to cannot handle all of this before we even come to revisiting this case.
And Spherical Logic asks, could she be ejected from the case with a default judgment? I don't really do this kind of law.
She probably could. But Judge Simpson isn't going to do this because if they default judgment on them, their judgment defaulting on the plaintiffs as well, which again, this isn't their fault, technically. Now, that's because of how this Karen lawyer is describing herself as a fellow plaintiff and agent and lawyer. So the judge is having to navigate something here that's like, okay, you need to either take action on this individual uniquely, right, pretty much this entire hearing, and fucking restart from another time, or do something more drastic, which is default judgment. You guys lose your case, the lawyer also loses her case, and maybe is legally punished. But like, that's why he's not wanting to do this, because he hasn't seen a standard be met. Like, okay, Alec, Caroline, you guys fucked up big enough for me to say that that you guys deserve the L team.
Yeah.
Judge Simpson hasn't gone there yet.
But is that for you?
Yeah,
Cybercrime.
she will
I love it. He says it outright. He's like, is that for you?
Yeah, is that what's happening?
Surprised the plaintiffs haven't denounced her and been like, this lunatic doesn't represent us. So, honestly, the plaintiffs don't understand what's happening.
Your comment that you read earlier. Yeah, and one, they don't understand what's happening, and two, this speaks towards, I think they are family. I think this Karen lawyer is like a cousin or something. Because the only, like, most landlords or tenants, well, most people end up in court over this kind of stuff. They're not necessarily faint of heart or mild-mannered, quietly spoken. No, they do assert their rights and stuff because they're in court. They're doing it like by default. But when you throw family in here, now, how many people are willing to openly call out their cousin or their mom or their dad in public, in court?
Yeah.
That's kind of hard to do.
In chat, if I had to guess, part of it is a mix of the judge just like isn't used to having a genuine crazy person in his courtroom. And the other thing I think is he might just have like a slow docket day where there's actually not much going on. So he's kind of in the mood to humor this and see where it goes.
He is smiling a lot.
Yeah. Because sometimes like
Far
a
more than I
court,
would
there
be.
just isn't nothing going on that day. He's got like 1 or 2 cases. Each case is expected to
you know
take
what?
like
He
10
leaned back
minutes.
and he goes, you know what? Do I have time for? I got time for this.
Let's see where it goes. I've seen a judge do that before. I've seen a judge, like, he got through all his cases
had to.
quickly. He had one case at the end of the day, and he let that one case go on for like 2 hours because he just wanted to see where they were going with it.
Represent the Jeromes as well, but she's not able to.
Whoa. Okay. Stay with me here.
whatever-
Stay with
whatever
me
you
here.
want.
Stay with me here. I don't care who the attorney is.
Okay,
That attorney
cannot represent
can
the Jerome family.
represent both. There is, even from what minimally I know about this case, just from the plea, that can't happen, and
Okay.
I'm not going to allow that to happen.
Okay,
Because I think, quite honestly, and I didn't want to say it out loud, but I'll just
there
say
he
it out
goes.
loud now. I think the interest of the Jeromes are going to, at some point, be absolutely in direct conflict to your own interest.
So this is the part where I think the Jeromes kind of understand how bad their cousin or whatever is put, like a position they put them in. When the judge directly says, I think you have to be against them. Because later on the Jeromes start getting more animated with, don't worry, we will go find our own lawyer kind of thing.
Okay, gotcha.
This is probably the part they needed to hear to like, for it to click in their minds that, oh, she's fucking us. Like,
Yeah, I'm going AFK for just a second, but I have my speakers on so I can hear.
oh, that's fine. Must be real slow, lol, lucky judge, most are loaded with work. Depends. Because typically what happens is judges will have like a full docket day, but some stuff just breezes through. Because it's just like, everybody was in agreement, all the facts were pretty clear and straightforward. So originally a case that was expected to take like an hour, 2 hours, takes them like 30 to 40 minutes. And if that happens a couple times in a day, by the time they're at the end of the day, they have all this free time that was originally planned for other cases. It's not often, but it happens sometimes when just, you know, the planets align and things work out well for the judge. Nicest thing you can do is put the case on hold until they find counsel. Technically, yes. However, the problem is the motion before the court today. Everybody is saying they want it just thrown out entirely. Plaintiffs want it thrown out entirely. Defendant wants it thrown out entirely. Judge thinks it's pointless. Why not enjoy free time and take the rest of the day off? Some people do this job because they love it and they want to engage more with it. Like, I could see the point. But no, I know some judges just kind of enjoy being in the courtroom. Not enjoy it as in, like, they like having people to talk about in the courtroom, but they just kind of enjoy their job and what they do. I mostly live in the criminal sphere where marginal cases just don't end up in the courtroom. Fair. With a lot of these cases, they get kind of weird because there's a lot of pro se litigants going on in them. Because typically, if you're having a landlord-tenant problem, it's kind of rare that you have the money to go get a lawyer. Or you feel like you don't have the ability to pay for a lawyer, so you just intentionally choose not to even ask. Because, like, oftentimes you're talking about people that are not paying rent because chances are they don't have the money, or they're not responsible with money, or they're being they're trying to find a new home, so they're worried about spending money on a lawyer that they could be spending on like whatever their new location is going to be. So landlord-tenant stuff gets weird like that. Imagine if you were just stamping approval on settlements, then yeah, it could be quick. Depends. Some of these cases need a lot of argument, some don't. Sometimes both sides are in agreement. They're just in court for like some minor small bullshit. Also, I'm gonna wait for Ava to get back. Sat at their little PC. Their little elf PC. Running on squirrels and
I'm back.
dark magic. Alright,
I'm back.
We shall continue.
Understood.
Okay. No, I value your advice, every word that you've
I don't
told
give
me.
advice. I give opinions and orders, but go ahead.
I love that part. Judge, I value your advice. And he has to remind her, no, I'm the judge. I'm telling you what happens.
This isn't advice. This is an order. Yeah. Yeah. But
I love it.
Okay.
Ms. Toe,
Yes.
you need to just stop.
Okay.
No, you need
You
to
need
stop doing
to
what you're
just
doing
stop.
in this case.
When I heard that, all I could think of is the Filthy Frank meme with the clock. It's like, it's time
Yeah.
to stop.
No, for real. That's it. It's time to stop.
That is something you will basically never hear a judge say.
You know, it's if you reach the part where like the judge just says stop, you have fucked up royally.
Yeah. Yeah, from Sneckabottom, stop it, get some help. He is at the stop it, get some help stage. And we still have 40 minutes. This is not a mix of multiple cases or multiple hearings. This is the same singular case the whole way through. It has to be like
For
a slow day or
instance,
something. I don't know why he
The
humors this.
combination arraignment and sentencing hearing of Aaron Armholt, who is one of the co-stars of Ghost Adventures. His wife was found guilty and sentenced to prison in a murder for hire plot. So we're talking a freaking like bounty hunter RICO trial.
Yeah.
You know how long the arraignment and the sentencing took? With victim statements and everything? About 16, 20 minutes.
Yep.
Again, that's a criminal. Far more complicated. This bitch was fucking hiring people to kill her husband, like 2 or 3 people she hired. And yet, they handled that. I mean, God, what is it? It freaking 80% of the freaking faster than the Nest?
Yeah. This is insane.
You can certainly defend yourself. I'm not entirely clear of the relationship that you have with the Jeromes, but I will just say that what is happening and what you're doing is potentially jeopardizing their positions in this case, as well
Yes.
as your own.
I hear what you're saying.
That's Jericho logic. If you're going faster than a RICO case, you're either toxic dork or insane. Yeah, that's why I mentioned it specifically. That was a fucking conspiracy case. Like, those are hard to fucking... Those take a long time. And so for the sentencing and arraignment to take a combination of 16 minutes, where this is taking an hour, just to get this lawyer to understand you're not a lawyer here anymore.
Mercenary for 5, look up Office Space Bob's interview. What the hell is wrong with you people? I love it, because the judge tells her something so clear and concise, and she's like, I hear what you're saying. Honey, this is a court. This is not your therapy session. We're not hearing each other out. He's telling you what's going to happen.
Yeah, we don't need you to express your truth.
Yeah. This is a judge. He's kind of the law of the land in this room. You don't really get to say, well, no. At least
and
in
remember
this case.
too, it's not in any like rule book, but rule number 1 of the court: don't piss off, agitate, or otherwise annoy the judge.
Yeah.
That is rule number fucking 1. And this entire time has just been this old boomer lawyer Karen just freaking agitating the judge, poking the bear.
Yeah, spherical
Look at
logic.
that face. Look at his eyebrow. Look, his eyebrow is so fucking pronounced right now. It looks like it's just part of his skin.
Yeah.
He looks like a Neanderthal. He's so angry right now. That's pretty mad.
Spherical logic. I don't think she understands he is the judge and that she is in trouble. Yeah, I don't think she's
For
picked
real,
up
like,
yet that she's in
basically
trouble.
responding to the sheriff going, I am the Senate. What? No, you're not. Get out of here.
She's doing that, but she's also looking like one of the younglings when Anakin enters the room. So just imagine like a little 5-year-old kid
another
going,
problem, too,
I
and
am the
this
Senate.
This isn't necessary. Oh my god. That is actually one thing I will say too that's been really annoying. And I know it gets worse and later on in the video because I skipped ahead and I saw her do. But Judge, like, when you start to sound like a 5-year-old whining because you haven't gotten ice cream in terms of tone, you get the fuck out of court. You have lost the plot so hard. Like I will bring back trial by combat if you whine in my fucking courtroom.
Yes.
Like a 5-year-old.
The appropriate answer, chat, to this, because she is in a position right now where she could already be in so much trouble, but she's not yet because the judge is very nice. Her appropriate response is, yes, judge. I'm sorry, judge. Won't happen again, judge. Sit in your seat and shut up
Pretty
for the rest
much.
of the time.
I mean, look. Gordon Ramsay is getting more respect from his chefs with yes, chef, than this judge is from this lawyer, okay? It should be yes, Your Honor. I apologize, Your Honor. Oh, okay, that sounds good. That's a rational... Okay, I will do that. And then she just freaking walks out of the courtroom. Literally, that just drops whatever paper she's holding, and she just walks out of that fucking double door in the back of the room. That's the only way she could make this not horrible for them.
Now that you've said the Gordon Ramsay thing, all I can think of is this should be playing out like an episode of Kitchen Nightmare, or this should be playing out like an episode of Hell's Kitchen, but it's playing out like an episode of Kitchen Nightmares. Where you've got the restaurant owner that's like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
She's lucky this judge is merciful. Oh,
you know
she's so lucky.
Too. The other cases that this lawyer has probably handled are probably far more competent and rational because she's not trying to represent her fucking family.
Yeah.
That's all this is. This is somebody who has taken personal offense to the motion to disqualify, which was granted, and she's doubling and tripling down because she's too close to this situation. I guarantee you most of her other cases are probably, one, not done in front of the judge, it's like a disposition lawyer or something, but two, she's probably pretty decent. Like Amber Heard's lawyer was actually a good lawyer if she kept to her, like, her lane. She's a disposition lawyer. She's not used to arguing motions in front of a judge. She's not used to adhering to the rules of evidence and the rules of decorum in a courtroom. Therefore, when she performed on stage, quote unquote, yeah, she fucking belly flopped and drowned. And this lawyer's doing the same thing.
Yeah. I also say that it didn't help with Amber Heard's lawyer.
I will say, of
Amber
all
Heard
the
is
lawyers in the
bad.
world, well, yeah, that's true. But that's the thing too, is Amber Heard's lawyer doubled down with Amber Heard. She got too close. She saw a cash cow that she was able to try and charge $6 million for, and so she was willing to believe anything that Amber Heard said. But the problem with both of these are, one, they're too close, and two, they are not. Most lawyers don't argue in front of a judge, believe it or not. But most attorneys are not in the court arguing their motion or playing their motion to a judge. And usually what happens, it's a lot of submissions, it's a lot of being at the courthouse, but like you actually doing this trial shit, like there's trial lawyers and then there's like office lawyers. And I promise you, office lawyers way outnumber the courtroom lawyers.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. I intellectually do not understand
What?
because
Just basic,
handle-
basic,
What?
just,
I get what you're saying, but intellectually, I have no fucking clue what you just said.
Like, there's so many things she could have said there. All of them would have been wrong. But to say that I get what you're saying, but basically I'm too stupid to understand
but I don't
it.
get what you're saying. Yeah, and also it's funny too because understand means something a little bit different in court. Well, the 10 is usually, do you understand now? Is like, okay, yeah, I understand, I comprehend. But back in the day, because words are important, understood or understand means do you stand under the authority of the person who's asking you this question?
Yeah.
It's not a do you understand? It's more of will you comply? That's what that actually means. So for her to say, oh, I understand what you get, but I intellectually don't understand, dude, then you don't get it.
Exactly.
You just said 2 sentences, both of which contradicted each other. Good job.
Nate Civil says, Your Honor, I hear you, but hear me out. This is kind of the legal version of hear me out, bro. Or YOLO.
It kind of is, yeah.
Oh no, Ava disappeared!
YOLO, oh my god.
Did my VTube studio
Uh-oh.
crash?
I left
Oh no, it
this
says
way.
you
What the
joined
hell?
back. There it goes.
I think that was me.
I just closed and came back. It's all good though.
basic.
okay,
If you did something
yes,
that they did not implicitly or explicitly give you permission to do,
right.
that then would, because you're acting as their agent and it causes liability to the Cassidys. You with me so far?
So far,
They come after you because they didn't give you authority to act.
they meaning,
The Jerome.
oh, because they're going to go after.
Because now all of a sudden they're
Something
like,
I did in
Pardon?
performing the lease?
I like how she's acting so confused. They would come after me for something I did? He's like, yes. You are speaking
Dude,
on their
he is
behalf. You
pointing
are
out,
getting
like,
them in trouble.
Basic fundamental shit here. And somehow she doesn't understand that, yes, they can come after you because you are misrepresenting them without their permission in the court of law.
Yeah. He's
Like,
tried-
holy shit.
He's trying to explain to her stuff that she should, like, implicitly understand. Like, it's one of those things that you shouldn't even need, like, legal classes to tell you. It should be
Hell,
pretty, like, self-evident.
This is a reasonable train of logic.
Yeah.
Like, no, you don't need to be a law student to wrap your head around this one.
And she's just not getting it. Because she's so emotionally
She's not.
invested, she can't understand the consequences.
Exactly.
Because they are going after me for something I did in executing the terms of the lease that I signed.
but they're going after not only you, they're going after the Jeromes. And the Jeromes may have said, oh, she was supposed to do that,
Yeah,
right? And that the Jeromes, I'm going to presume, are going to say, we don't want liability for that. She didn't have authority to do that.
Oh, no.
Right.
And
So it's
Caroline
on
is
me.
starting to nod with the judge.
That's what I meant.
That's very important.
Like, earlier
Like,
when
they're not, Alec is still very stoic, but like, Carolyn's like, yeah, Young can fuck over right now. What the fuck?
Yeah. Like, earlier when he mentioned that, what she could do could negatively affect the Jeromes, the only person who spoke after that was Carolyn, who said, I understand, Judge. And I think at that point, the gears in
Yeah,
her
there
head
you
started
go.
turning, and she's like, shit, we
Yeah.
might be getting screwed.
Yeah, let's do
It's hilarious that Alex
yeah,
Jerome
dude,
is
I
still
love how
stone
Alex
face.
Germain is stone, like, and look at where his camera is. Look, his like, like it's blurring, yeah, but like it's pointed upward at his ceiling.
Yeah.
Like he's just staring us down, like hardcore.
He's just mad dogging the camera for some reason.
Yeah, what's it?
Oh,
Yes,
Hey,
yes. Let's presume it comes out that way.
yes, there you go.
The problem is when you're representing them, that will never happen.
As the agent
No.
who
no.
signed the
As
lease.
as you're representing them and making the statement as though you are one in
Okay.
this court, that will never happen. The fact that that can't happen or won't happen is where there is jeopardy and prejudice to the Jeromes in terms of what their position might ultimately be.
Okay. The attorney that I have retained, if she represents the Jeromes.
You've now retained an
and
attorney.
I
What?
represent myself.
So weird.
No. I think,
It's
can I
weird
just
that
interject?
that you're retaining the attorney. That's
I
just so strange to me. I'm
Yes,
sorry.
no,
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. You've made it abundantly clear that we will retain our own attorney. And
Wow, somebody actually is listening to me.
and I really don't know what. Well, I finally got it. And we'll have to proceed from there. As far as the things that are on the agenda today, I know that our contract does, I guess this is an anticipatory breach of the contract if they move out. But again, I would want to have a lawyer here to talk about that. And, I am understanding some of the language that's going back and forth between you and the attorneys for the Cassidys.
Wait,
but
they
we're
move
going
out.
to have to.
Are the Jeromes the landlords?
that's not what I thought. I thought the Cassidys were, but that's how confusing this case is.
That's what I thought. Well, but she just said when they move out. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's the vernacular that a landlord would use.
They have like this one lawyer has severely confused this case to the point I do not know who's who.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's easier for the
honestly, at this
judge.
point, like, everybody get the fuck out. I'm shredding all of this and we're starting over.
Yeah. Like, obviously,
Like,
it's easier for the
I'm
judge
sorry,
because
but
he has it
holy
written
shit.
on paper.
Yeah.
The ghost keeps on trying to
But
testify.
Dude, the ghost, look, Satan's there going, look, that bitch is fucking crazy. I don't want her in hell. God doesn't want her in heaven. Purgatory won't take her. Just find somewhere to put her.
Get her out of here. Oh, yeah, because there's the joke that all lawyers go to hell. And Satan's like, I'm going to have to revoke that rule. Like, she's not allowed. Thought the landlord said the tenants assaulted them. There's like back and forth on everything.
Okay. Vehan, I think you have it just about right. I think Germains are the landlords and the attorney drew up the rental agreements and acted as an agent during the rental process. I think that is okay. So yes, okay, we are. So I am going to officially say that the Germains are the landlords and then the Cassidys are the tenant. Not only because of what Caroline here said, but also because of that's the only way in which, like, do you want as a tenant have your agent sign your lease agreement?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
It gets very confusing.
But you would have your agent sign your lease agreement if you were the landlord. So that's where we are now.
And it's also clear that now Carolyn is kind of getting what the judge is putting down, and she's like, okay, we need like a real lawyer. Like, we can't just keep going with this lady.
Yeah, that was, which I love Judge Sense. It's like, thank you, someone's listening to me. Because like, okay, you made it abundantly clear, we will absolutely retain our own attorney.
We prepare ourselves to distance ourselves from Ms. Topin. So I'm comfortable with that. And I'm sorry it's taken us so long to get there. Alec, do you have anything to add to that?
No.
Okay.
He's a good husband.
He's a brother.
Dude,
What'd
Alec,
he say?
dude, Alec is
brother?
looking based.
Yeah, okay.
Like,
Then,
when
then
nobody
he's very
sees it-
good.
Yeah.
Okay, they're brothers. They're
Brother and
siblings.
sister.
Okay, brother and sister. What nobody sees is Alec is actually just fucking cleaning his fucking shotgun. It's in his lap right now. You don't see any movement because you just see his head. You just see his neck and his head. Where he's like, "This better go right, otherwise we're gonna have some troubles."
Oh, that's
I'm gonna
crazy.
do you a concern. Why are you talking like an 1860s cowboy? No, don't you worry about that.
Mercenary for 5. This is like a slow motion car crash into a 50 car pile. That is her. I mean, yeah, I can
Real.
see that.
Like,
Yeah. Good brother.
sister asked, do you
He's
have anything to
mogging the
add
whole
after I
trial?
talk? No. All right.
He is.
Nah.
They are. They're great people. Okay.
Okay. So when speaking to the Jeromes, how long will it take you to get attorneys? Because it's going to be very difficult for me to move forward unless I'm sure you've got attorneys that are.
They will have an attorney with them.
Why are you answering
Shut
for
up.
them?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there it
no,
is. Okay, there was the coming up thing. That was fucking. Holy shit! Yeah, this is getting to that point now. This is getting to the point where, like, if she doesn't shut the fuck up, she's gonna end up in county. I swear to Christ.
He's like, okay, Jerome's, how long are you gonna take to get an attorney? And then she's just in the peanut gallery, like, don't worry, I'll make sure they have one. You shut up. Like, you're not supposed to be involved in this.
Hey, you know what's also funny? If you go back just a little bit, as the Germains and the judge are having like this moment, oh yeah, they're great people. All right, so let's get back to you. Like, look at the tone swing. Go back just a little bit. You see how amazing it is because he's all happy. He smiles. Then she opens her mouth. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah. And you see he's all happy and he's like, okay, things are going well. We're back on track. Stuff is happening.
All right.
He is. They are. They're great people.
You see him drop like when she starts talking.
Yeah.
And he's very good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Good brother.
Sister asked, do you have anything to add after I talk? No.
So smiling.
All right.
He is. They are. They're great.
Just that.
There it is. This is drop. He recovers it very well because he's a judge. He needs to. Like, but you can see the instant the joy leaves his face and he puts back on the mask of the smile. Like, because that little drop is just like, oh, well, now I have to fake it because he just pissed me off.
Yeah.
Great people.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
So when
Okay,
speaking to the Jeromes, how long will it take you to get attorneys? Because it's going to be very difficult for me to move forward unless I'm sure you've got attorneys that are.
They will have an attorney with them.
Why are you answering for them?
Yeah, no, I got
Because
this
we've
one. I
talked-
got this.
Your Honor, we have talked about this. We have talked
What
about
did I just say to you?
in the past.
Oh my gosh. Look.
Yeah, no, I just interjecting.
I like how you could especially tell he's mad because he moves his entire chair. You see, like,
he just adjusted his fucking
When-
chair. He's
Speaking to the
okay.
Jeromes, how long will it take you to get attorneys? Because it's going to be very difficult for me to move forward unless I'm sure you've got attorneys that are.
They will have an attorney with them.
Why are you answering for them?
Yeah, no, I got
Because
this
we've
one. I
talked-
got this.
Your Honor, we have talked about.
moves his whole chair back. He is so done.
Well, you actually paused it so perfect. Hold on, look at this. So this is a great micro expression. Do you see how she is hiding her, Caroline? She's hiding her look. She just like sucked in like
Oh yeah,
that.
she's got
That
like
is biting back an amount of anger and contempt that is incredibly difficult. That is her physically biting back, wanting to basically bite off this bitch's head.
Magma for 5. Judge Simpson has the patience of a saint. Also head pats for the lolly.
I love how he's just on stage right now. He's fully to the right. Like he's not even at his desk anymore. He almost went to get up and go for a walk and went, I'm still on stand, okay.
Baked Buddhist for 2. He's powering up his alt activated by chair. But Spherical Logic has it. Alec is trying to figure out how to explain this to mom. So, honey, what happened in court today? Are you doing good?
It's
About
fine.
this, we have
Don't
talked
wanna
about
talk about it. Look at Pen Rage.
It's so bad because he just yelled at her, "Why are you speaking up for them?" And then while he's trying to collect himself, she just starts it again. Take the L, honey.
Yeah, this is what's crazy is we're halfway through the video. Like it's like Circle Logic mentioned this earlier. This should be at the end. This should not I have no idea how we're only halfway through. We've gotten to the main point. Caroline is clearly on the same page, but this bitch is still here and we have 30 more minutes.
She just won't let it go. Okay, adding a train derailment to that car pile up.
I say to you,
in the past.
oh my gosh.
Oh, I like this because maybe you've seen this one before. There's a video of a defendant jumping the bench to try and attack the judge. And Vegan says,
Yeah, that's a great one.
We've seen a defendant jump the bench to attack a judge. Maybe we're about to see a judge attack a plaintiff.
Well, this is a this is a lawyer trying to be a plaintiff. And we have actually seen a lawyer and a judge literally come to blows in a Florida courtroom.
Oh, I've seen that
remembers
one.
that one. Yeah, that one's great. That was great. Holy shit.
If this was a movie or a TV show, I could unironically picture the judge right now just grabbing the chair and lobbing it over the bench at her.
People have to understand, though, and look at this and go, this is why in Congress, in Parliament, in court, way back when, there were fistfights. Lawyers settled fucking disagreements with a goddamn pistol duel. Why?
Yeah.
Because people are sometimes that stupid. They're like, you know what? You're so stupid. I have to hurt you in order to make you understand.
Yeah, you will only
Outside,
understand through violence how wrong
faces,
you
let's
are.
go. Exactly. That's why up until recently, that was an entirely valid way of resolving your problems.
And then they tried to fix it by putting a barrier between them, and then people just started jumping the barrier.
Yep.
Nerdy Tech's an accountant for 5. I'm so surprised at how calm the judge has been. Also, head pats for Ava. Yeah, no, unironically, the judge is extremely calm throughout this for how stupid she is. He is still being so nice to her, and she does not deserve any of it.
Look, we're 25 minutes in, and he just blew up. I mean, he just got animated, really.
I just to interject again. Alec, it's the 23rd of August. I would say after the 11-year-old, she's beginning school. Could we put it into the beginning of September? I would think that we should be able to find some.
Okay, let me ask you this. Could you guys have an attorney in, say, 2 to 3 weeks?
Yes.
She just
3
said.
weeks, please. Yes.
3 weeks? Is that going to be tight for you? I don't want it to be tight for you. I'm just.
Alec, what did you say?
I said 3 weeks. I would like the latter of that range if possible.
Okay, so at least 3 weeks to get you. Okay, very good. See, I knew he'd say something eventually. So, okay, all right. So, all right.
So I do think, Your Honor, our motion to strike is
Dude,
pretty
Alec don't
straightforward.
Yes, it is. Okay, so, and this is what I don't understand. Why do I have a report to me at all?
Because in typical actual legal mediation,
She's gonna try and law-splain to an entire courtroom
Holy
of
shit.
people.
Holy shit. No. Holy shit. I'm sorry. You paused it really good there. But, wow. Okay, hold on. I'm okay. Rage is quelled. Rage is quelled. Inner peace. Okay. When she said that phrasing in actual legal person, did you go back? You'll see Judge Simpson's eyebrows go up oh, bitch wanna play? Like, well, just like it's fucking perfect.
Yeah, so chat's already picked up on it. Look, sometimes judges
Yeah.
don't know the law as well as they think they do. That's a thing. You never say that to their face. You are going to get fucked. It's kind of on the same tier as if you were in a restaurant and a chef is currently preparing your food.
Disrespected the entire court.
Yeah. Well,
by saying, well, what are you saying, that this court does not follow actual law and regulation?
Yeah.
How fucking dare you?
Like, imagine going to a restaurant and while you are watching the chef prepare your food, you are standing in front of him saying, well, if you were an actual cook, you might be able to do this better. Not only is that just, like, super rude and inappropriate, but he is currently holding your food in his hands, and he could spit in that shit and you'd never know. Same thing here, except the judge is holding your, like, literal life in his hands. And you're trying to spit in his food, and he's like, okay, well, how much money do you want to pay the court? Also, Striker on Twitch says, Granny is tweaking. But yeah, no, like, even if a judge is wrong, you don't... First off, you wouldn't say it like that. You would have to, like, try
appeal.
and...
If the judge is wrong, you appeal. You don't say it to his face. And unless it's an absolutely egregious violation or procedural mishap or something, like when we had that ex parte meeting that happened at the Young Thug trial, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had, like, if it's something like that, then absolutely it's your duty as your client's representative to tell, like, no, we should have been there. This is a point. I'm pointing that to the court. It was improper. It was illegal, and this is not right. That's one thing, right? But this is just minor things, and you are just blatantly disrespecting the court, the judge, everyone there when you say something like, oh, in actual legal proceedings. Excuse me, bitch?
Yeah. I know Vegan has a better one. It's like trying to tell a ref that he doesn't know the rules. They might be wrong, but on the field or court, they are correct.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, he might be wrong.
If you think they're wrong, you appeal.
I don't think he is in this case at all, but yeah, a judge might be wrong. You don't say it in court in front of him because you're just ruining yourself.
As in typical actual legal mediation, the mediator gives
the eyebrow raise. I'm so sorry.
And because it was my understanding from talk.
He has such a headache right now. Like, he is so done.
That is another way to challenge the judge. Circology is actionable, where you can file a motion requesting recusal.
Yeah.
Usually citing a conflict of interest or a previous negative relationship or something like that. But again, that's not even, like, some judges might take that as disrespectful, but honestly, that's just normal. I think that's normal for you to do. Nicholas Vercada filed to have the judge handling his drug possession charge recused, and she recused herself because she handled his parking tickets and his speeding tickets and stuff. It's a normal part of the process, and judges typically don't take offense to recusal requests, but they will take offense to you blatantly just disrespecting them in court this way. Like again, if you don't agree with a judge's ruling, you appeal. That's how it works.
Yeah. And if you look up on the bench and your judge looks like this while you're trying to make your argument, I think it's kind of time where you just need to be like, I'm going to stop now.
This is contempt worthy. This is actually just straight up defiance.
Talking with the Jeromes after the session that I had arranged for them, things went much further than the subject of the meeting was supposed to be. And
what?
It was discussed with, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, when we talked and reported Donna was still our attorney, Alec and I, in our ignorance, didn't know that. I mean, I guess we should have thought about it, but since it wasn't an official mediation, according to the agency who conducted it. There was an email that said that. We didn't think there would be a violation. And didn't know that it, again.
We didn't discuss terms of the tenant
Yeah,
lease.
okay.
What we discussed with Donna was issues that were beyond the discussion matter of the tenant lease agreement that thought we were meeting with regards to the mediation activity.
So this is going to get really confusing. So I want to kind of just lay out exactly what happened before we get to it, so you can kind of contextualize everything that's being said. They went to mediation. The mediation is supposed to have been like sealed. It was supposed to be private. They told their lawyer their at the time lawyer, what had happened in mediation. Their lawyer, Crazy Karen, basically says, well, you were told that mediation was going to be about X, but it was actually, you discussed Y during it. So because you discussed Y instead of X, the NDA does not matter. That is her whole argument.
Wow, okay.
And she is going to consistently use that as an excuse for why she is violating the privacy agreement.
Well, she's attempting to, yeah.
Like, it's not technically an NDA chat, but I'm saying it is earlier, NDA.
It's a confidentiality agreement.
Yeah.
It's more or less an NDA. But so what I had speculated, the reason why she was so bent out of shape ended up being true. That it's all about her not being privy and having this information on what the mediation was about actually being presented in court. She's fucking pissy about that.
Yes.
Wow.
But yeah, chat, basically what happened is they were told the mediation was going to be about one issue. During mediation, they discussed other stuff other than that one issue. And Karen is trying to claim, because they discussed other stuff, that the confidentiality agreement is null and void. Because it, quote, only applied to the one issue. Because that was the language in the email they received about the mediation. Yeah. This is her trying to play like hyper semantics. It's not gonna work.
Got it.
Your Honor, it all occurred during the mediation process, the confidential process. The report was filed after Ms. Tope was...
No, I get, certainly get that part.
Moreover, Judge, I've done hundreds of mediations or many more than that. And yes, reports do go to the court, but the substance of the discussions never go to the court, just that what happened as far as if they came to a resolution or not.
But even to the extent that they're relevant, that report comes from the mediator. It doesn't, I don't get this.
This is the one misstep I think the defendant's attorneys are making, because they're trying to make an argument when the judge is already wholeheartedly on their side and is in the middle of trying to admonish the middle party. And I get what they're doing. Like,
I think it's probably it's them trying to keep like on topic. They view Karen Lawyer as an errant freaking anomaly in here. They want to pretty much just blow past it. But now this needs to be addressed, and the judge is already on your side regarding this particular issue. There's no need to continue to litigate what he's already going to rule in your favor over.
Yeah. This is one of those, it kind of feels like you're trying to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. Like, you were never going to lose this. But I just wouldn't argue with the judge about it at all. I just, but yeah, no, go ahead, judge. Keep yelling at her.
That's why when I saw it, and I was reluctant to even read it and just skimmed over it because I didn't ask for it. I mean, if it went to mediation, so the first thing that I did is I went to the leasing contract, basically, or wherever it was, to determine if, for whatever reason, as part of that provision, I was supposed to get it, because I couldn't figure out why I was getting this. And that's not in there. And so I couldn't figure it out. Can
given all of that, does anyone have opposition to the court striking the response to the court?
Both, Your Honor, the affidavit as well as the response, which then recounts the response to our motion. When
Everything. I'm talking everything, because none of it should have been here.
So what the judge is saying is that because this was a confidentiality, like a mediation that was held by confidentiality, it should not be in front of him point blank, period. So he doesn't want to hear either side talking about it, good or bad. He's like, I just want all of it off my desk because it shouldn't have ever showed up. And he's trying to get confirmation from everybody that it's okay for him to just be like, okay, I'm taking this whole file off my desk because it's not supposed to be here. And you can see Carolyn's on board. She's already got her thumb up. I'm glad Carolyn towards the end here is finally understanding that her cousin, sister, whatever the fuck this lady is like fucking her and she needs to get away.
I'll ask you, Jerome's. Do you guys have
Yes.
any?
We do not. Go ahead, please strike it. Thank you.
Okay. Miss Tope, because she's a party, I gotta ask. You have any, given what's been said, do you have any objection to their motion to
None.
strike?
None,
All right,
no.
then please prepare an order to that effect.
I would still ask for costs and attorney's fees, Your Honor. We had requested that this be withdrawn to avoid the necessity of filing this motion.
Miss Tope,
Can you-
why didn't you withdraw it?
Sorry?
Why did, let me ask this, Miss Rosen, who did you make your response to withdraw to?
My email to request that they withdraw?
My response to my withdrawal of the letter,
I sent it to all parties.
okay,
So you sent it to the Jeromes also?
I sent it to the Jeromes and I sent it to Ms. Tope by email. I don't have a physical address for the Jeromes.
Gotcha. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so why didn't? Okay, see, this is where it's gonna get hard.
okay,
I already know the answer to it.
okay.
Before you say to the Jeromes, is there a reason why you didn't withdraw the report to the court?
Is there a reason why we didn't withdraw the report to the court?
Right, why you
They
didn't
didn't know they had
acquiesce
to.
to
They
the
didn't know they
request to
could.
withdraw?
Yeah, that's pretty much what that boils down to, what Ava said, is these two people don't know anything about court. So they had no idea that, like, this was, like, a proper thing they should have done. This is out of most people's wheelhouse entirely.
Yeah.
This is
That's why
something they're...
even the question itself, she's like, it didn't even occur to me that I could withdraw the
Yep.
report. And then we wouldn't even have to be here motioning to strike it. That's what her brain is coming to terms with right now.
Yeah.
And that is on Miss Karen Lawyer here because this is why it's so messy.
We were not aware of the concerns
Yeah,
related
quite
to the
frankly,
court
yeah, we
filing.
weren't aware of.
Oh,
how
you
to-
both started talking. What were you saying to me?
Sorry, Alec, you go. You'll probably have a better.
I just said we were not aware of their concerns related to the court filing and were not aware of the need to rescind.
Well, and you,
Yeah, I guess ignorance.
you
was-
had no idea as to the ramifications of that happening, did you?
Yeah.
Correct.
No.
Your Honor, can the court inquire of the Jeromes if they sought legal advice from Ms. Tope after we sent the email asking them to withdraw?
We didn't,
Nope.
we didn't seek legal advice.
Hold on, I don't. I understand the nature of why you may want that. I'm gonna have some,
This is why I really like this judge, because he's being very nice to the Jeromes on this, where he asked or the technical defendants asked a question that could very much damage the drones on it. And he's completely aware that they are genuinely too stupid to not too stupid. They're too ignorant to understand the ramifications of answering that question and what their answers could mean. So he's just going to try and be like, okay, we're not talking about that right now. Because they genuinely can't answer that in good faith. Or like with complete understanding of what's going to happen. Ava, you just chatting in the type chat?
Just a little bit. I was mentioning because Spherical Logic said this is why you don't represent yourself ever. And I said, I'm a lawyer, I would dream of going pro se. I might go pro se for an arraignment, just see myself out of cell so I don't have to wait for my own representation or whatever. But that's about as far as I would choose to represent myself in court.
And Jody asked, that's the term for self-representation, pro se? Yes. You're a pro se litigant. And it's like a lot of court stuff is like old Latin terms. Although I'll admit I don't know specifically what pro se means in the old Latin.
Do you not?
I do not. I've never looked into it. I've just
It's
always
for oneself.
Ah, fair.
Or on one's own behalf.
That was one of the few things that I was just like, I've never really looked into it.
You could also say in propria persona, which is in their own person.
Yeah. Yeah, the one thing in your own case,
I will say this. Avoid, if you are a lawyer, avoid using the old Latin terms in court. Judges tend to roll their eyes at that kind of behavior.
Yeah.
Yes, it's technically proper, but it's like, okay, fucking look at you. Fucking, we can all do that. Just fucking speak English.
I think the one you regularly hear in court is pro se, just because it's so much shorter than trying to explain.
Per se, Fossis in uno, Fossis in omnibus is one I hear a lot.
Yeah. It's the ones that it's a lot easier to just say the Latin than trying to explain the nature of the person you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because like you could say pro se, or you could say plaintiff defending oneself or something.
Here's how Simpson is really a judge for pro se litigants, because you notice he hasn't used any of those terms. He says, "Oh, so are you representing yourself?"
Yeah.
So he will take the time to say the word. But yes, for most court proceedings, yeah, you would go, Are you doing this pro se? Yes.
Yeah. I do like that he is just kind of actively, he's not really advocating for them, but he's more advocating for their rights. And he knows that with
judge.
Yeah. He knows without counsel they're fucked.
Sure that everybody's rights are properly represented, even if they're self-representing. He's going to make sure they understand the ramifications of every decision. He will talk them through it.
Yeah.
Which is really cool of him, and he doesn't he's going above and beyond the Call of Duty, but I do believe Judge Simpson and how he educates as he judges is kind of like what we should have for the standard of a judge.
Yeah, he's always been a good one.
Very protective, even as a judge, as to what may be even parts of an attorney-client relationship and communication. So I'm not going to permit that answer to that question. All right. Is there any reason you didn't acquiesce and just withdraw before?
I didn't acquiesce because I had set up the meeting. I knew what they were to discuss. I knew what the confidentiality agreement should have covered, not as an attorney, but as
his glasses are off and everything. He is so done. He's like, I've got to facepalm so hard the glasses have to come off so I can do it.
I feel like he's hoping he can become a Sith Lord so he can fry his own brain and not have to be here.
Trying to force shock himself.
Yeah, he's like, please, God, I'll wake up. I'll do what you say. I'll go to church. I'll do my one good deed a day. I promise. Just get me out of here.
Person who was trying
And then Morgan.
to effect that section 38 in our lease that allows for seeking advice from the University of Michigan. The mediation service allowed to students no longer exists, and they do not provide that service anymore. And I was referred to the dispute resolution where the parties talk about the issues under dispute, which are the lease terms. And so when there was discussion that there was no discussion with me about what was talked about or agreed to or anything about the lease.
I no longer know what you're talking about. I asked.
I love that he's so straightforward with it. No clue what the fuck you're talking about. Like, where are you going with this? This Karen lady does not know when to just give up and like quit. Like she could just give like a simple answer and just be like, "My apologies, Judge. I thought it was appropriate, but I now know that it was not appropriate. So yes, I should have withdrawn it." But instead,
it would honestly be hilarious if. Well, I mean, this is common with a lot of what are they called? This is very common with a lot of attorneys. They get asked a direct question like that, and they know they're on the wrong, but they'll just hum and haw and try to argue semantics because they can't accept that they were wrong out of like intellectual stubbornness. It's the mark of a good attorney versus a bad one is one who can actually yield to a judge's point out of logic, or one who decides to fucking try and fight that.
Yeah. Like, this is a point where she just needs to take the L, walk away, and stop trying. Like,
She
my
needed to
God.
take the L like 25 minutes in.
Yeah. Like, she has no idea how lucky she is that he is not just, like, smack this down. And, like, immediately sanctioned her, because she's already in a position where she could be.
Just a very simple question.
I know. Why didn't I acquiesce? Because I felt as if there was a good reason to question the applying court rules to the settlement meeting that I had set up that was specifically stated by the person who organized it that it was not mediation. So I felt like there was a way to talk about what parts of it were covered and what parts
weren't. But listen.
Yes.
So that's kind of where she gives her explanation, and she'll go more into it a bit later as well. But she specifically says that she believes some stuff is covered by confidentiality and some stuff isn't, which is just not how that works. The whole meeting is confidential start to finish. I'm having flashbacks to Legal Eagle being like, why are you arguing with the judge? No, it's understandable, chat.
Yeah, this is just annoying me.
I told you it would. I told you it gets very bad. Because she just never stops.
If all the
Which I did in an answer. I have an answer, but
if all the
the mediation agreement that all parties signed, indicating pretty clearly that, or quite clearly, that it was confidential in two different spots.
yes. But that confidentiality was over the subject matter of the meeting, and the subject matter of the meeting was strictly the lease and the lease terms. The things that they went off on had nothing to do with that.
The affidavit provided started out by stating during the mediation process this occurred. Mediation was still going on. If this was a conversation that the parties had in the parking lot after the mediation, it would be different.
Maybe.
Perhaps.
There was no mediator present.
I
Holy
don't,
shit.
Mr. Tope, I really don't understand. First of all, why you felt it necessary to give that to the court, right? That's the first thing.
Okay,
But then once you made that decision to do it, and then counsel points out to you why it shouldn't have been done, is asking you just to voluntarily withdraw it, and you don't after looking at everything. That's the part I'm having a hard time with you not doing.
I understand your concern.
I hate her therapy speak bullshit the whole time. The judge just outright tells her, you should have withdrawn it, that was inappropriate. And she's like, I understand the concern. Karen, no. The judge is telling you are wrong.
You just have to take the L. You just have to take the L.
Mercenary for 2 just keeps escalating with this lady, a true Karen. She really is, and I don't know why. Like, I hate her.
I felt it was, since we had such a long discussion about mediation and good faith, and we finally agreeing to try to effectuate the term in the lease and follow that, which is what I did, and the mediation aspect not being available, I felt that it was my responsibility to give you back what had happened during this discussion that you had made very clear that you would like to have us do. And so I did.
Well, why do you think I would need to know?
What?
Why do you think I would need to know?
I don't know, because you told us to do it.
Your Honor, clearly she's just trying to prejudice the
No.
defendant counter plaintiffs by providing false information to the court.
No.
She knew she wasn't supposed to. provide
No,
it.
strike it.
At the last hearing.
It's not going to make any difference. The judge will not make any
Hell
decisions
yeah, that
based
was a
on that
great fucking
report. It
statement
was
from
just
that lawyer.
saying what.
Oh, yeah. What did
Yeah,
you like
no,
about
like,
it?
fucking sanction this bitch, strike her fucking shit, get her out of there, leave.
Mercenary for 2, did she play psychological games with the court? She's trying, but she's failing. Like, nobody in court cares about this. I feel like language. Nobody cares how you feel. I mean, a jury does if you're having like a jury trial, but like a judge typically doesn't. Contempt and sanctioning is the only language this lady will understand. I don't even think she'll understand that. She seems a little too far gone. Is she going to alt? Are we going to get white lady tears? She is not, but that would be so funny. That would put this video like over the top of worst lawyer I've ever seen if she broke down in court crying. The only one that would beat it is a lawyer that like actually attacked the judge like physically.
Actually, I can think of one.
You have to show me one day.
One of the worst things that I have, yeah, this is one I've actually seen in court. Luckily, I wasn't the one doing this one, but it was a messy divorce case and lots of accusations being thrown back and forth. But it was one of the firm that I worked for and studied under and did the reading of the law under, they accept one of the, like, I think it was a first year, second year associate to handle this case. And the other firm decided to, like they're heavy hitter. Like, we're talking like 10-year associate motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened, but apparently the 10-year veteran basically, like, got exacerbated from the argument, said, come on, Cedric. We all know our hair. You know me. Can we just put a bow on this thing? So that landed him in contempt of court and disbarred.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
at
I
least
would
recommend a
imagine.
disbarment from the judge. You cannot call the judge by name and then ask for a fucking favor in court in front of the judge just because you can't fucking overcome this simple argument that is being made.
That is a massive yikes.
Yeah.
That's honestly a rough one. She would understand sanctioning, but intellectually she can't. Judge, I intellectually don't understand why you're sanctioning me.
Yes,
And
for the
that's-
logic. I did family law, but I was a minors counsel.
Me and Ava actually
In
talked about this
California,
before
when
stream.
when in California, when any domestic thing involving like family law, divorces, custody battles, etc., the state of California will actually appoint a lawyer to represent the interests of the minors present in that family unit, and that was my job.
Yeah. I told Ava before the stream started that the only court cases I don't particularly like to watch too often are family law cases. Because while family law cases generally have like the highest rates of plaintiffs and defendants getting in out and out fights, you also have to keep in mind a lot of times the reason they're having these cases is because there's a child in the middle, and then that just makes you really depressed. Like it's hard to take
Yeah, it's really bad.
enjoyment out of the blood sports when there's like a kid that you know is in the middle of it. So I try and avoid
Yeah, kid
family
who's
law
like
when
being
possible.
coached by the mom to say terrible things about the father that never happened. Stuff
Yeah.
like that.
I think you have to think like that kid one day is going to grow up really fucked up because their family home life was just so tumultuous and full of anger.
all. And I have no problem striking it. It's causing such problems.
Costs and attorney's fees, and we'll let the court decide how to proceed.
I've listened to you, and the reason I was asking the question is, Ms. Tope, tell me why I shouldn't sanction you.
Because one of the things that comes out in this back and forth is that I am being attributed by the other party because I am a plaintiff in the counter complaint as having ulterior motives, and honestly, I don't. I'm just trying to respond appropriately to my responsibilities as the agent who has been managing this lease from the very beginning. And
Ms. Tope, that's not a real answer to my question.
I know.
So
It
what?
wasn't at all.
Yeah.
I know. What?
Yeah. She's lost the plot and she knows she's lost the plot. But this is where she directly says like why she's doing this, and she basically says, well, they insulted me in their counterclaim. Like, okay, well, I don't care.
Insults is not something that is actionable in the United States.
Yeah, they're not suing you for being a dick, they're just calling you one. That doesn't immediately make you a party to the case.
That's insane.
Mercenary for 2, and the Death Star laser just fired on her. No, I love when he says, tell me why I shouldn't sanction you. Because I think that's the first
if
time the
you
entire
hear that-
time. There you go.
Again, those were the exact words that we heard from the judge that sanctioned those two lawyers who tried to pass their chat GPT research as actual freaking filing, cited motions that the AI freaking hallucinated. And if you hear the judge say the words, "Tell me why I shouldn't sanction you," you're fucked. You are so done.
Yeah. I think that's the first time in this entire case where she realizes how like deep she's in it. Because then she even gets the next part where he's like, "Well, that doesn't make any sense." And for the first time, instead of fighting, she just goes, "I know." I think this is as close as we get to her actually understanding what's happening. Honestly.
So when a lawyer is sanctioned, they face a number of penalties, fines, suspension, or even disbarment. Otherwise, it's practice law. It's basically the judge formally putting you on notice.
Yeah.
Well, but that's how I'm thinking. I'm not doing anything willfully, intentionally, or in an aggressive, oppositional way towards their clients.
And it doesn't have to be aggressive. It's still in violation of the confidentiality agreement, the court rules, the evidentiary rules. And given an opportunity to withdraw it, you didn't. So here we are.
And that is part of the story, but the other part of the story is, given an opportunity to withdraw it, I didn't.
She could just pull a Chuck, slam her head into the freaking desk, and then just fall on the ground. Boom, done. I have electromagnetic hypersensitivity. Okay.
Because I felt I had a responsibility to report what the judge had ordered us to do.
Your Honor, I don't see.
So
I don't know where that responsibility came from. If it came from a court rule, if it came from the rule of evidence.
it came from his discussion, just like this. I totally hear what the judge said.
I told you to do that?
No.
Making things up right now. And it's improper, and she needs to stop doing that. She needs to stop making false statements to the court.
Okay. Anything else you want to say, Ms. Tim?
This is getting to the point where, like, the judge could choose to clear the freaking lobby.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, like, this is getting, but like normally they'll only do that if there's a jury present, but there is an audience here, and this is making the court look so fucking bad, so disrespected, and so incompetent if this is one of their attorneys.
Yeah. You can tell he's very, very not happy. And he's trying to keep it together.
Except I am not making false statements to the court, and I am trying to express my motivation.
Can you hear her, by the way? How she sounds like she's about to start crying?
Yeah, I can hear it.
She's so close to breaking.
Very manipulative.
Baked Buddhist for 2. What part of the room is the chair cam pointed at? I think it's off to like the left or the right of the judge.
It's the bench.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the bench.
It's so like they're talking so loud and the room is so quiet because you do need to be quiet in session that the mic is managing to pick them up, and occasionally it tries to show like who it thinks is talking over there. Because like let's be fair, courts are not typically the best with technology. If you watch any number of court cases, you constantly see lawyers that are in and out of court every single day, still struggling with how the Zoom works. It's just a thing with courts and tech, but it's whatever. She's bringing shame on the entire bar for that state. A little bit, yeah.
And you asked me why I didn't, and I tried to express why I didn't.
Ms. Tope,
It's in your hands.
so here's what we're gonna do. Place in the order that I'll take sanctions and cost under advisement.
Thank you.
And I'll decide whether I'm going to order them. Because, and here's my reason. I typically don't, I realize there could be violations. I typically don't sanction attorneys if they've didn't sort of have ill will in doing what they did. And I understand one may look at that differently, right? But sometimes people do things just out of sheer ignorance.
I love it. He's basically up on the bench looking you in the face and saying, I'm not going to sanction you right now. I genuinely think you're too stupid to realize how stupid you are.
Yeah, pretty much.
She even bar certified for her state.
She is. She has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be surprised if she wasn't.
This is the nicest sanction threat I've ever heard. He is being exceedingly nice with her. Like, if I ever get pulled into court, I hope this is my judge. So much, like, so bad.
For real.
Spherical just wants to see her cry. She is close.
I kind of would love to see that.
It would be great. Mercenary for 2. This judge has a seat right next to Peter and Paul. Oh, 100%. So, like, I've seen multiple of his cases. He is such a good guy.
If you don't sanction ignorance, I will plead it.
This is a part where she needs to just shut up.
Holy shit.
Like,
I can't believe she just said that.
She's trying to make a joke.
Guys, she just said, well, oh, geez, it didn't come across as a joke to me. Like, maybe she doesn't realize what she just said, but she basically just said, if you offer me a way out of being sanctioned, that's what I'm going to plead. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, it's a really pathetic showing by her, and she's just not stopping.
I don't think you have to plead it. I think we pretty much have. Thank you.
Oh, Jesus, we don't have to plead it. We just have it.
It's very self-evident.
Yeah.
I can't even feel bad for her at this point, because she just brought it all on herself, and she just won't stop.
Yeah.
One last thing, really quick.
Wow, man. See, I told you the minute Rosie started.
So
I'm
since
like, why can't you talk? No, go ahead.
is no longer about possession. Possession will be returned. And it's going to be just about compensation damages. I would ask if the court is so inclined and has the time, and once the Jeromes have attorneys, if you would be willing to engage in your incredible shuttle negotiations and allow us.
See, you've been talking to Mr. Fink too much, first of all. But
I've seen it in action, so.
yeah, I don't, and I really don't have a problem with that. And ultimately, if we could get the case to that point, I'm not going to have a problem with that once we get to the final settlement part and do that. But I've got to make sure that the Jeromes have attorneys in place and that their interests are protected, and we could do that. So, yes.
There's another procedural matter.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
By the way, I like how she's just moving. She's on the move now. I don't know where she is.
No, you can tell it's the same house that Alec is in.
Yeah. He's somewhere in here.
The same color of the roof.
But Mercenary for 2, does she actually want to be sanctioned? Holy. Yeah, she, I don't know why she's been given so many outs, and she chooses not to take any of them. Like, we're honestly at the point where the judge is like, I think you're too stupid to understand how bad you're fucking up, so just please be quiet. And she's like, yes, judge, I am too stupid. And if that's what you want me to say, I'll say it. Like, no, just don't say anything. Just shut up. He gave you the out. Take the out. Caroline is so stressed she had to go for a walk. I genuinely think she is stressed because she's been biting her lip the whole time. And you can... It's very distracting because you're focused on the judge and the lawyer in a fight the whole time. But she slowly, as the video goes on, you can see her recognize more and more just how deep she's in it with this cousin.
Yeah.
Like there's more and more recognition slowly throughout the trial where she's like, if she's getting yelled at this much, we are in a lot of trouble. And Mercenary for another 5, thank you. Seriously, the law in the show Night Court was better than her in the original Night Court, I might add, from the late 80s. I'll be honest, I don't know anything about that. The only retro thing I ever watched was I Love Lucy and Mr. Ed. Ever see the case where the guy Zoom called into court from the home of the girlfriend who had a restraining order against him? The prosecution recognized it and sent a deputy there. I did see that, actually. And they specifically tried to they were talking to the girlfriend, and they were like, is he in the room with you? And she just kept going, no, no, no. And then finally with the guy, they're like, hey, sir, why don't you do like a quick 360 with your Zoom camera? He goes, I'm not going to do that. Now, sir, go on, do a quick 360 with your Zoom camera. Show us like where you're at. We need to confirm your location. He just wouldn't do it. They sent police out to the house and found out that he was physically in the room with her while she was on trial testifying to his abuse.
Yes, I remember that one.
That is a fucking crazy one.
So after Ms. Toke served one of her notices, she filed a complaint that wasn't timely. That was, I think, her 3rd complaint she's filed in this case. So then she went ahead and filed a 4th complaint. In the meantime, we had responded.
4th complaint.
We had responded to the 3rd complaint and counterclaim, but now we have not yet actually officially answered the 4th complaint, and we needed an amended counter complaint. So I don't know if the court wants to give us a timeline for that. And there were 2 case numbers, so I think the court mentioned it consolidating those cases.
Well, they're gonna, right. I mean, the district court doesn't have a great way of doing that. So how much time are you gonna need? Okay, so here's gonna be part of the problem.
So I think I'm realizing that Carolyn is doing this call from a laptop. And I don't know if you notice it, but her camera's like shaking all over the place. She is so nervous. I am pretty sure it's on her lap and her legs are just like going wild, like tapping nervously.
Yeah.
I think Chat was right. She definitely needed that walk to try and calm down a little bit.
Yeah, she did.
Mercenary for 2. Night Court was a great comedy TV show, pure gold. I might have to look it up then.
You're going to be filing an answer and a counter complaint, which is going to include the Jeromes, which are then going to have new counsel swing in, right? So I think I'm going to do it this way. I'm at this, and that was filed by Ms. Tope on behalf of the Jeromes.
Yes,
The 4th one.
the complaint, yes.
Okay. And do a separate order. I'm not going to require an answer to that at this time. Because I don't know, once the Jeromes get counsel, I don't know what they might want out of that part. Complete. I mean, I don't know what their position was.
Those were filed not by me as an attorney. They were filed by me as the agent for the Jeromes. I was
Okay, look.
their attorney.
Judge is not happy that
She just can't stop.
she's doing this thing again. I know, obnoxious Big Arrow, but yeah, Carolyn is like embarrassed laughing. It's not like a funny laugh. It's like a Jesus Christ, we fucked up laugh. It's definitely a nervous response. Mercenary for another 2. Make sure to watch the 80-90s version first. I will see if I can find it.
Till later.
Look how he's frozen with like just his teeth. You can just... He's gritting his teeth so hard. Alec is angry, but he can't show it. The judge is angry, but he can't show it. So he's like defaulting to like a smile, basically. It's like it's clearly a fake smile, but it's what he's defaulting to. Valter says she's doing it again. She never stops doing it, chat.
You got to stop that. I mean, you really do. You can't like split yourself and say, I'm doing this because I'm doing this as whatever, but now I'm acting as, you can't do that. Because you're doing it, when you do it, you're doing it to justify you doing something, which quite frankly, I would agree with counsel probably is in violation, certainly if not directly, the spirit of the order regarding your disqualification.
Right.
So you just need to stop it.
So I, Donna Tope, am not able to respond to anything that had to do with my operating as their agent before I became their attorney.
Hang on a second. I don't know how to answer that. Because what may end up happening is the Jerome's get an attorney,
Yep.
The attorney says, oh, heck no, she's not doing anything on your behalf. And they follow that, then you do nothing. Your agency at that point certainly ends.
Mhm.
It's so hard to like judge how this is going because it's like so negatively that it's hard to point out like how negatively this is going for her. It's like levels of negative. Like, do you think we've hit the bottom of the hole yet? Or do you think she has room to dig
The bottom
still?
of the hole would be being sanctioned.
Yeah. So you think she still has room to dig herself into it?
Absolutely, until the judge sanctions her, she does.
Gonna be a fun story at dinner home for the judge. I don't know. A lot of times you don't want to bring your work home with you. You know, you inundate
Yeah,
your
but he
life with
didn't
it.
say much about it. Especially, I mean, your stuff is on camera.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, check out my stream from today. Like, what took?
It's weird to think of a judge saying that. I understand it makes sense. But just imagine like talking to a judge, just like, yo, bro, you should check out my live stream from yesterday. It was crazy. Oh, the world we live in is so weird. I don't even know what to do with it anymore.
Chat. 200 bits and I'll give her life.
All right. So I want to, I almost hate going here, but I'm going to. So Snowbird, you're going to prepare the order regarding no answer required until the court directs otherwise.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
Is
fantastic.
there also a deadline for a counterclaim though? Because we filed a counterclaim in the third amendment, but the claims are going to be, we'll be adding claims for sure.
Answer and counterclaim. Just everything's on hold because it's not you delaying it. It's not the court delaying it. I just have to get, well, it's the court delaying it because I have to give to Jerome's time to do what needs to be done. All right. Now, without raising a new issue, what is the circuit court case?
I filed I called the sheriff and filed a report of an assault and battery at the property by Eric Cassidy and Paula Cassidy, and followed up with that with a civil complaint of assault and battery.
He's trying so hard to not yell at her right now. Like with that face. Because he's like, okay, so what's up with this case? And then she immediately gets back up. It's like, oh, I filed that one too. Why is she still talking? So the judge is asking about a new case, which is for specifically the circuit courts. And I guess he was under the impression that either counsel or plaintiff had filed it. But then he finds out that no, Karen Lawyer filed that one too. So he's kind of in a spot where he's like, so you weren't just involved with this one thing beforehand, you're still involved in other things. And you're just like not being honest.
At this point, like, I'm sorry, I feel the judge has a duty to sanction this lawyer.
Yeah, I feel like sanctions are kind of required in this one.
Yeah, like it. I get dismissing it, like sanctioning them because of ignorance to a point, but like everybody knows, ignorance of the law does not justify the violation of it. And I feel like, especially, that needs to be true when it comes to court procedure and decorum as well.
Yeah. Also, Cole's are
So, like, okay,
5.
fine, give her a freaking pass, but it happened again. It just happened. No, we can't, because it's just gonna keep happening.
Yeah, she's not gonna stop. Cole's are for 5. I was washing dishes with the stream playing in the background. I didn't hear UPS drop off my new GPU. Thanks, Mizu. Also, head pet. Well, I'm sorry. I hope your GPU wasn't outside for too long. And I hope you have fun installing it. Hope it works out well for you.
When did this allegedly happen?
In the early spring. I don't have any of that information with me. It's not pertinent here.
Around March 8th, I believe.
March 8th.
Right, it was during the process of her, she claims the event occurred during the process of her serving a notice on the property.
The notice to quit.
Yes, at that point, it was to allegedly people that weren't supposed to be living in the house that were living there. It wasn't true. And then, I guess, Your Honor, the question will become, that did occur during, I think it's a permissive joinder, for sure. I don't think it's a mandatory joinder, but it's a permissive joinder. So one question will become, will we be removing our case to circuit court and then join that as well?
Okay, so this is it's like Groundhog Day. If you remember.
I love some of the stuff that gets said during this. Because it's not often you see a judge like so candidly kind of upset with a case. Normally, like, there's some level of like hiding their disdain for counsel. But he's just like cracking jokes about how much he doesn't like them at this point.
They're not a lawyer anymore.
True. That's fair point.
You know what? What's her name again? What was this lawyer's name? This Ken lawyer. They said it a number of times.
Miss Tote or something like that.
Miss Tote. Okay, I want to do something.
If you can find her. Because this
Hold on.
this was uploaded 9 months ago. So there is a possibility something has happened to her by now. Let me see if they put it in the comment.
Attorney, here we go.
They don't have it in the bottom, no.
Hold on, let me see here. Here we go. She is Washington County Service Center. 1481, okay. Okay, so he's in Minnesota,
No, fair.
which means. Well, no, MI is Michigan, isn't it?
Yes. Possibly.
I found her.
Oh, really?
Pretty sure. Hold on. Oh my god, I think I found her Facebook. Yeah, I'm not gonna dox her. Do you have a LinkedIn, please? Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Got it.
Based.
Yeah, this is her. I found her LinkedIn.
Is she
gonna give
still
this
an
to you.
attorney?
Eleanor solo practicing at Cambridge Legal Services. PLLC. Cambridge Family Holdings, LLC, Property Loading and Management. Apparently, yeah.
Huh?
Apparently, she's still an attorney.
Well, I mean, even if they did file with the bar can take a hot minute. I don't know if the bar would consider
Oh my
this.
god, wait, no, she's not. Wait, no, she's present. Okay, no, she's the owner of Cambridge Family Holdings. That's her property management stuff. And she is an attorney?
Eh.
There's no way. Is she really still? I'm sorry, I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
I found her bar association page. Hold on. Active, yes. She is active.
Yeah. Okay, well. She doing her business. Here, an attorney reminded me of a saying, if you have the law, pound the law. If you have the facts, pound the facts. If you have neither law nor facts, pound the table. I mean, yeah.
That's true.
Baked Buddhist for
And she's
5.
pounding.
Still has lick and getting work are two different things. Fair. Having your license and actually getting people to hire you are not the same thing.
That's true.
Because, like, especially if this... Because I wouldn't know, like, the area of town they're in. But if their, like, area of town had this go, like, semi-viral in the papers or something, it would be very difficult for her to get work. Depending on, like, the size of the town. Because some of this stuff can, like, ruin you.
It's a pretty rural colony.
Yeah. Like, a smaller town, stuff like this can ruin your career. And you have to, like, move away.
The first time that you were here, and we were going around and around about that. And I said I could do something that I really don't want to do. And that is get appointed a circuit court judge and just deal with it. And I just let you know what I'm thinking. Excuse me for the pause. And that is, I don't think you should be taking up Judge Connor's time with something that is a result of a landlord-tenant case that I have. If it's regarding the serving of a notice, outside of the landlord-tenant, why would you and the Cassidys even be in contact with each other?
I wasn't in contact with them. I was outside.
Okay.
So, Your Honor,
your entire relationship with the Cassidys is a result. It comes from this landlord-tenant relationship, right? That was a question.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the
Okay,
only
so-
reason I was there was in my agency capacity enforcing the lease.
Exactly. So why do I have a separate court hearing an action that came from that? Let me just say this. When was this filed?
Oh, August 8th.
Of this year?
Yeah,
Oh no.
You know, so I'm just gonna tell you. And I don't
He's got the rubber bands out now. He's so stressed.
Holy shit, dude. Again, like, the judge has a duty to sanction her now. Like, it's not even, like, he just needs to fucking obey the law and, like, apply it. Because this is so bad.
Yeah. These rubber bands are definitely like a stress thing for him. He is like so far beyond. He's trying to calm himself down.
don't know anything about it. But this is a lot like her. It's almost like you're just wanting to harass them.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Why then answer me this.
Why would I do it? Because
Why wouldn't you file it if you felt that there was an assault and battery? Why wouldn't you file it in this case?
I didn't consider it a landlord-tenant case.
Civil actions up to 25,000
Mhm.
are the jurisdiction of this district court.
Yeah, I asked for over 25,000,
Ask for what?
over 25,000.
Of course, everybody does. So then why wouldn't we have just done it? And then we might have been back in that whole discussion about does it get removed, does it do whatever? I mean, I think I can't help but think while all of this is going on, and quite frankly, you're not getting your way on a lot of things because some of it I don't
right.
understand. No, you don't. Listen.
Yeah.
Now.
I'm listening.
That what you did is you took that case and almost as an abusive process, filed an action in circuit court to harass the Cassidy.
Holy shit.
That's what it looks like.
He's calling her out straight.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Mercenary for 2. Elf lawyer needs a head pat from the ladies action.
That
He dropped abusive process. Like, yeah, he's he's kind of starting to see like other stuff. Like, first off, she's supposed to already not be involved with the case at that point. So instead, she files with another court. And then she files with another court on something pertaining to the same case. So he's basically, chat, if you don't know legal stuff, that is a massive no-no on multiple levels.
yeah, this is so bad. This is basically this is the legal equivalent of like losing an argument or debate with like your mom and deciding to go to your dad to ask the question. Don't do this. This is so bad.
You're just gonna get spanked by both your parents.
Yeah, this is direct defiance of a court order. It's a felony.
And I think that's why the judge has like busted out the rubber band that he's playing with in his hands. I think that's like his final level before he just blows up, like trying to de-stress himself. Because like no judge wants to make an order while they're mad, because then like it opens up questions about the order and like, oh, were you in the right mind when you did it, and yada yada yada. So he's trying to bring himself back down. The event happened before or after she was moved from the case. I believe it was after. So what's interesting is the way like the time period changes. Although I guess you could argue that it's a difference of opinion or something. But originally she said she filed it back in spring. And then when he asks again, she gives a specific month, which is August. which I think we can all agree August is pretty well outside the confines of spring. We're getting into autumn at that point. Or we're getting close to it.
Well, it's so funny because when she says August and he goes, of this year?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, you motherfucker. Like he's trying not to fight her. That's what the rubber band is for. Because if the rubber band wasn't on his knuckles, her face would be.
Yeah. He's, at this point, chat, he is not happy. He's very not happy.
So here's what I'm going to do, because I don't think they should be trying to answer.
I will
Two
withdraw it.
No, you do what you want to do, because I'm just going to call Judge Connors in the circuit court, and I'm taking, with his permission, I'm going to take it, because there's no reason he should be handling it. All the issues, God help me, but all the issues are here.
It was an assault against me personally. It has created a hostile work environment. I am afraid to do my
This is
job.
worse than like being civil. Either we're talking about you personally, we're talking about you as an agent, or we're talking about you as an attorney. You got to make up your mind.
And Your Honor, all of these issues are what led to the tenant's decision to vacate. I realize that if they can tell us where to leave the keys, I will Mr. Cassidy's on the call.
Mr. and Mrs. Jerome, where should they leave the keys?
It's brothers and sisters.
Mr. Okay.
I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I don't know. This is such I'm so disoriented by this whole thing. So I have to get back to you.
Is there a lock? I thought there was a lockbox on the back door that we could place them in.
Is there?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. That works.
It's easier. They can be brought to my office. I did want to make just a clarification for the record. She filed her complaint on July 18th. July 12th, this court heard argument to disqualify and order disqualification. And then 6 days later, she filed it.
I withdrew.
I knew you would.
I withdrew within 7 days.
You withdrew what?
I withdrew as attorney on this case.
You really didn't.
So what he's saying here, chat, and I don't know if you all got to hear it because there was a lot of kind of ambient noise. She was disqualified as the attorney. 6 days later, she filed another motion after being disqualified as attorney. 6 days after being disqualified. And then after that...
To say that she has a 7-day grace period.
Yes. She's saying she quit within the 7 days.
Because she withdrew.
Yes.
Yeah, first of all, she's trying to say she quit, she wasn't fired, and the judge is calling her out on that.
Yes. And she's trying to say that she had a 7-day grace period, so because she filed 6 days after she was disqualified, technically that was in the 7-day grace period. Which is... That's not in the spirit of the order.
That's not how that works.
Yeah. That might be very technically correct. The court doesn't have to go with technically correct. They typically like to look at the spirit of it, especially this judge. You were definitely not within the spirit of it. And also, again, chat, you probably notice Mr. Cassidy has not said a single word the entire time. He is not required to be here at this point. He has sat here in dead silence, staring at his camera for almost an hour.
But that's okay. You were disqualified. And for very good reason. And I did it. And everybody can be mad, but I did it. So here's what we're gonna do. Where do you is there a lockbox back there?
Yes, there is on the back door.
Mr. Cassidy, do you know if there's...
Hello, excuse me, Your Honor. There is a lockbox. It actually has keys and it's on the door. I don't know the code for it. We can simply leave the keys in the kitchen, and they have the lockbox keys that they can enter the house, or we can.
Do
You know,
you have a problem with that, Mr. If
No,
that is-
that
Mr.
sounds great.
Okay, just leave them in the kitchen.
Okay.
All right. Just take a picture that you left them so I don't have to deal with whether or not the keys are there.
Literally the only words he speaks the entire time, and he has to clear his throat because he has not said a single thing the whole time. So his chords are like a little underused right now. I got jump scared by the new voice. Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Do we have a date to return?
Yeah, I really don't want to get one, but I will. She said with a smile. You have a date to return? All right, let's do it this way. They needed at least 3 weeks out. He was looking at, why don't we get 4? Why don't we make it September 20th? Will that work for you?
Fine, Your Honor.
Yes,
Your Honor, I've scheduled a mediation in the afternoon on that day.
And this would go in the afternoon. So what about the 27th?
I believe I'm available as well.
Would you be available the 27th?
Of September.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. And I won't say Mr. and Mrs. Will the Jeromes be available on the
Yes.
27th?
We will make ourselves available.
Okay, that gives you a little bit more time than the 3 weeks, but
Great.
Clock again, Your Honor?
well, I don't know. I set it at 9 and then my staff will send you notifications of the time. All right? Thank you.
Thank you. Your-
Once I get there, I am. And
Thank you
Mr.
very
Fink? Sure. Mr. Rosen did something sort of in your name and made me commit to something. She'll
So Ava, what are your thoughts?
Again, I mean, I actually decided to look her up because I was like, is she still fucking practicing now? Or stuff is still up. Maybe she's not. Maybe she's suspended or she's incurred fines or something. But like, for it to come out that she was disqualified, she was fired, both by her clients and by the fucking court. And for her to 6 days later file something in a different circuit court. Like, yeah, I think the judge called it perfectly. I think that was an attempt to harass the Cassidys.
Yeah. I do wish he got a little stricter with her.
I again, like, I get his avoidance of wanting to take something, but like, this, like, it was like, okay, this is weird. And then it got gross. Then it got to a point where it's like, okay, maybe you're just fucking stupid. But then that last bit came out. I'm like, now it's not. No, now we've gone past like it just being stupidity or ignorance because there's a pattern being established now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that he absolutely should have at least held her in contempt, if not sanctioned her. Was like fines and suspension at the least.
And what are your thoughts on Karen showing here? Her legal expertise.
Oh my god. Oh my fucking god.
You see why this
really-
one was so interesting to me?
Yes, I do. I definitely do. And I just like again, I do think she should be tested for dementia.
Some people in the comments
she had
actually
way too
mentioned
many
that.
senior. Yeah, no, again, I've actually done in-home care for a couple of people who have early stage to mid-stage dementia, and I'm telling you, she is showing several of the fucking signs. Like in terms of like, it's one thing like pausing every once in a while to find the words that you're looking for, but like the pauses that she was having were like indicative of like some of the pauses Biden was having, right?
Yeah.
So it just like I'm like, this is bad. The like you're arguing in circles and using word salad that just loops in on it doesn't mean make shit. When the judge asks you a direct question and you answer him with a non-answer that lasts about a minute of talking, you've lost the plot. You need to be evaluated. And I'm not meaning to be prejudiced or anything, but she looked like she was maybe 50, 60s. I think her Actually, I could bring it up right here because I didn't close it. Okay, so she's been in the game for 32 years. She was certified in 93.
Okay.
But she is, yeah, okay. Yeah, she's mid 60s. Yeah, okay, so yeah, I'm thinking that.
It's a little
this is
early, but
about
it's a
the time of
possibility.
age. No, this is about exactly where, because people have to remember, dementia and Alzheimer's is a degenerative disease. When it's caught for early onset, truly, it's 5 to 10 years too late. Your brain has already been degenerating to the point where it's just, that's how great our brain is. It's able to compensate for its loss in faculty for 10 years or more sometimes before really you start to see like the signs that we call early onset dementia or onset Alzheimer's. But by then, the disease has already progressed by a good amount of time, and that would show up at least in like what do they call it? The brain scans and stuff that they not CAT scans with something else. It's
MRI?
something very specific, but MRI no, because that's again that's a machine. This is like something they actually put on your head, and there's a bunch of nodes in that. It measures neurological activity in the brain.
I don't think I've seen that one before.
Yeah, but like she's at the point here, from what I could see, I would ask her the 20 questions that you ask her. And then like there's a pretty simple test to determine if somebody is at least reduced faculties or maybe showing signs of early onset Alzheimer's or dementia, and it's just 20 questions. And they are framed in a way that makes it to where it's very easy for it to trigger someone's relapse in memory or their trigger their short-term memory problems with dementia or whatever. Like one of the questions is you ask them to pick a card or think of something to remember. And then by question 19, you ask them what that was. If they can't remember it, that's a point towards, okay, you might have some faculty trouble. And it's not a bad thing, but again, she's just at that age where if this is your performance in court, I want to look at your freaking, like, I want to take a look at your competency. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I kind of mentioned that early on at the start, but she's at a point where I think that they could request a competency. Early onset dementia can hit you in your 40s. Ugh. That'd be a rough one.
Yeah, it can.
But yeah, chat, I hope you, to some degree, got some enjoyment out of that, got some information out of it, maybe learned something new. Oh, Ava got the smug face over there. Yeah, well, smug face too.
There you go. Ha-ha.
I feel like my mouth is a little wide on the smug, though.
You look like a troll face. Like you smugged so hard that like it's becoming troll.
Y'all made it interesting to try and understand. I'm glad we could do that. I think legal stuff is super interesting. You just need to do like a little digging to understand it sometimes.
Yeah. This one was wild, but again, we'll have other ones too, shorter ones. Then I did show you too, there are released old versions of like bar exam questions that are gone over that are just fucking hilarious. And what we could do as well is we could have it where we read out some of these questions and then basically, okay, well, what do you think the answer would be? But like we're talking about like where the narrative is like, okay, somebody stole a car from somebody else and somebody got into the car of bystander to pursue them. There ended up being a baby in the fucking car that was stolen. And that's why the fucking carjacker stole it, because he could get a good job on a black market. And you're like, what the fuck? Yeah, how did this turn so dark, so fast? It's a bar exam question.
Yeah.
And then the actual, so what can the carjacker sue for damages? And what are the defenses the mother could use? I'm like, holy shit, there's so much like, can we look at the criminal shit? Because you threw a lot of that in there. And you're asking me about the civil torts.
Yeah. Not if you ever wanted one day and us to just go through like every single one, because I think there's what, like 16 in there? I checked earlier, but I didn't.
I think there's 16 of them, yeah.
Yeah, it's something like 16 in the playlist. Sorry, 8. Sorry, even shorter than that. And each one is about... Oh, so there's ones as short as 5 minutes and ones as long as 16 minutes. Looks like they probably average around 9 to 10 minutes each.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not very big, and like the reading of the question is what we would look at, like, really, which is only like the first half, and then the 2 laymen answer the question, and then the lawyer who read the question will actually answer and could give you the right answer. So we don't really have to, we could do like the first half and then go over what we think and then just briefly go over what their answer is as well. So you can get through those videos pretty fast.
Yeah. You want to touch on that today or next week?
We can do that next week.
Okay, that's fine, yeah. Because we've been going for a good little bit, I think. I think like about 4 hours. By the way, chat, YouTube...
Holy shit.
Not YouTube, but Twitch again, after we hit about the 3-hour mark, restarted my stream as it does every single time.
I saw it. I actually saw it in the chat, your stream bot do that. And I'm like, motherfucker, again, that's so annoying because on Twitch especially, the golden zone is 4 hours and more of streaming. And
Yeah.
like, Twitch is not letting you meet that standard, and that's really annoying.
I have yet to figure out what the problem
Is there any way you could open up like a support ticket or something and maybe have some insight from them, or is that just not possible?
I don't think so. I don't think they'd answer me. Although looking at it last
Gotcha.
night with the femboy documents, it actually did go over 4 hours. Which is the first time it's done
Oh, it
that
did,
in a
okay.
long time. But also last night I was distracted, so I didn't really
Okay.
notice. Those documents last night, by the way, Ava, were ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, if they're anything near what I saw the first night that we reviewed the first couple documents, like I hate that they're releasing them like it's like a Harry Potter series. You don't release them a little bit at a time, and you do if you want to maintain relevancy, which is what they're doing, which tells me that the claims are either baseless, pointless, or some combination of the two.
Yeah. I am kind of in the position where I think everybody sort of sucks. But one side turned it into a
Yeah.
Google Doc, so...
Yeah, that is also true.
Like, I just have to kind of, knuckle down and be honest about it. I think all of you suck, but one of you decided to turn it into a huge public spectacle, so... You kind of
And
suck
what I
slightly
hate about it
worse.
too is they all, and I know they're Google Docs, although I think Google Docs are the scourge of the VTuber society. Here I am writing one, by the way. Check out my debut coming up, and by the way, don't forget to check out part 2. What are you doing? You are literally grifting off of your own good. Yeah, you can't the ante. That's the level of retardation that I'm seeing being approached by these femboys. And I like femboys, so fuck you.
Real quick, before we go, how long is this? It's only a minute. Okay, it's a preview of a new AMC show that's about a type of detective. Would you like to give your thoughts on it?
Absolutely.
Here we go, chat. I think chat's gonna think
A
this
new
is
type
crazy.
of detective?
That I want to say it that way because I don't want to like spoil the content.
Gotcha.
When you have evidence of some serious crime happening, either you're going to do something about it or you're part of the problem.
People involved in this story are
Furries.
What's up?
What is a furry? Someone who enjoys anthropomorphic creatures.
Hey!
It's fun and
Oh my
loving
God,
and
this is real.
diverse.
You will be accepted. They don't care if you identify as a pineapple. Most furries are people who would never harm animals.
One day, I got a call. We have a problem in the community.
There were these postings of videos and pictures with living and deceased animals.
There were people so twisted.
And they are hiding in plain sight.
It's time that the furry fandom take a stand.
we nicknamed ourselves the Fur-vengers. Let's get these guys.
Stop
If
it.
you
Oh
want
my
to try to prove
god.
that I'm guilty, go ahead, because there's nothing there.
He's been lying this
The
whole time.
Avengers.
This was a global operation.
I had just kicked a wasp's nest.
You felt like you were kind of opening Pandora's box and you didn't know what was going to shake out.
Oh my god.
A series. Not just like a special, a series on AMC Plus.
They're like doing like To Catch a Predator, but like
But furries.
if Chris Hansen was a lolicon who went after child predators. It's like that's like pretty much what's happening here. Like what the fuck did I just see?
It's so wild.
To Catch a Predator with edition. Why? Tips why?
'Cause they
Hell would
can.
to dragon. Why?
It's because they can. Like, that's all I could think of.
Personally, I can't wait for it. I'm gonna be there.
It's
We're gonna
July
watch alongs.
17th. Oh, and of course, the furries are like, in the, we don't
see one
claim
from
Hero
Breaking
the wolf
Bad
is one
to
of
Better Call
us.
Saul to The Walking Dead. Now just furries.
This is going to set the community back 50 years. Please make it crystal clear the criminals covered in this documentary are not representative of the furry fandom. They used footage from a San
I think that was
Francisco
crystal clear.
Pride 2024. The event was public and completely unrelated to the documentary. Interesting, I claim no relation and may even ask to be removed from the footage. Documentary gets released.
Why would you dox yourself?
Documentary gets released about furries supposedly outing like predators and shit. And the comments are just filled with furries complaining about it. Do you guys not think that maybe like you're the reason the community has a bad name? Because like we're obviously laughing about it. But if it's actually a documentary about furries exposing like these bad actors that are like predators and animal abusers, why is your first thought to go to the
I think it just
comments?
speaks to media literacy.
Yeah.
Like they see probably the first part of it. They see what's actually being like that. They're like shown. Oh look, people in furry costumes. Oh, but they're talking about attacking actual zoo. Oh, they must mean that furries. No, they don't. Fucking watch and look at the trailer. If you paid 2 attentions of seconds. Excuse me. That wasn't a stream. I had a stroke. Excuse me. If you spent 2 seconds worth of time to pay attention to the video, you would see that it furries trying to expose actual criminals. Why are you I don't get it.
So this is something I don't think a lot of people seem to understand. It says, I know a few fursuiters who didn't know this was supposed to be used for a documentary. Some of these were from Anthrocon and San Francisco Pride 2024. Please contact your lawyers and AMC for your images to be taken down. If you appear in the documentary, you have them not permission or signed anything.
So here's the problem with that. You got like those footage, like it's on, it's public. I'm sorry, you're not allowed. You have no reasonable right to privacy in public. If you are at a pride parade and you are in your fursuit and someone records that, you have no right to demand the footage not be used because you are in a public space. Sorry, that's how that works.
This is also a weird side point because I don't think this has ever been specifically tried in court, or if it has, I'm just not aware of it. But because I know it's different for furries because like their fursuits are typically very unique, and within the community, people recognize them more for the fursuit than for their like face. But you would have to argue in front of a judge that you did not consent to appear in a video, which is already like a steep bar. But then you also have to say, yeah, that's me behind the mask. And it's like,
yeah, that's
just adding an extra layer of it's very difficult for a court to take that seriously. It's like,
oh, and here's the thing too. I will say this, like never fuck with a furry. They have money.
yeah.
they can sue you. And they will, trust me. You would be surprised how many fucking fur-related cases have hit the books. Why? Because they have a disturbing amount of money.
Yeah, nobody knows where it comes from. It's just magic. Yeah, no, there's not a single comment like supporting this. Everything is like, bruh, no one's talked about Kiro for years. People thought we were terrible and weird, and now this. As a furry, please say psych. Kiro is not a furry to us. Like, that's all it is. I just, it's hard for me to like, because I have to be nice and be like, not all or whatever. But it's hard to take your community seriously whenever like a predator gets outed. The first thing all of you do is show up and brigade the video to be like, well, he's not one of us. Like, okay, well, can we like focus on the
You're right. That's what the fucking documentary was showing too. And it was showing your community outing the bad apples in the community. And you are, yeah. Why are you fucking trying to silence that? Oh, I disappeared. Hello?
You'll be back.
There we go.
Small internet disconnection. But yeah, no, I don't get it with the furries. They never give the same consideration to any other group, by the way.
If you want to make it as an artist, just draw an SFW furry art. Trust me. You'll be, yeah. You get good at that, you'll never want for anything again.
True. But chat, what did you guys think of our first little episode of Autism with Ava? Also, Ava,
Autism with the autists.
Yeah. If you'd like to share your stuff, because Ava does this a lot more than me. I'm just going to be doing it once a week.
That's true. Occasionally. It depends on what my viewers submit, but I have a channel on YouTube on the same name. I'll fire you from here. I'll wave. And I'll say, hey, yeah. There you go. That's my channel name. And that's all I know to like, outside of Twitter.
Yeah.
I'm bad at this.
No, you're good. Why am I still following that person? They hate me. Anyways.
No, you're following.
I don't want to say their name out loud.
Fair enough.
I'm trying to not get myself. I already have a lot of people that are mad at me.
But you're so good at that. Effortlessly.
I know, I don't know why. But chat, love you all. I am gonna pass you all over to Lumi. Remember to go follow Ava and for more Autism. And hopefully me and Ava will be back next Wednesday.
Like, comment, subscribe it, and hit the notification bell on Mizutamari's YouTube stuff. If you don't, I'll find you. And it's gonna be way worse than the Duolingo parrot. I promise you that.
I always forget about the like, comment, subscribe thing. Oh, I'm just not good at advertising myself. Mercenary for 2, as the meme goes. More. Yeah. But if you want more, you go to Ava for that. Hopefully me and Ava can do this every Wednesday. I think it'd be really fun. And we'll get like more and more stuff to cover.
Yeah, I'm totally down.
And feel free to send us some stuff, guys. But try not to make it too sad. Preferably. Wait, what's our sponsor for this stream? Which
don't make it depressing.
Nobody's gonna sponsor me, chat. Life is unfortunate that way. But peace out, everybody. I'm gonna send you all to Lumi because Lumi's doing, I think, Warhammer stuff. So I hope you all enjoy a bit of Warhammer. Bye, guys.
Bye, chat.